Guys, welcome back to episode 4 of Conversations. We've got a special guest this evening. It's Dhanush, one of my school buddies. I would say I know him from the time I've started school pretty much. Right from middle school, we've been in the same class. We've sort of shared the same bench from class 5 to 10, the B section, I remember. And he's been probably the only guy that I've stayed in touch with, even post school. And he's always been there for me. He's sort of like a brother for me. And he's been there at the lowest times in my life when I really needed a friend, and when I was kind of all alone dealing with my personal stuff and my studies and things. So he's always been very supportive. He's been like a backbone and that voice of reason that I needed when I was longing for someone to listen to me, right? Because I had no one to reach out to. And I've always felt that anytime I need someone to talk to, I can depend on him, and I can always sort of reach out and he'll be there. So yeah, I mean, I look forward to having a productive conversation and getting to know him a lot more and talk about aspects that we don't talk about generally in our usual discussions and calls. Because they're sort of specific on one topic, but today it's more generic, although I've got broader themes laid out, and we'll kind of go through them one by one, and it's going to be intense. There's going to be a lot of things that we will have maybe divergent views about, but it'll be interesting to look at that contrast as we go through this. And I'd like to see, how it shapes out finally, because this is something that is going to be memorable. It's going to be one of those chats that we can always look back upon and think about it fondly, because it may not happen again. And this is something that this idea, right? The whole idea of this podcast, it was probably first discussed with him. I don't recall exactly, but and like my friends always are, right? The closest ones, they've always been supportive and they've always liked my ideas. So you always want to have that reassurance. And Dhanush was one of those guys who was like, yeah, it's cool, bro. Go for it. And I'm sure that it'll turn out well. So yeah, thanks for doing this, bro. Thanks for agreeing to sign up. It's a Sunday evening, and I know that you had some work to do, but you still agreed to do it. So yeah, hope to have a good chat. I mean, what are your thoughts? What are your expectations from the episode?
Yeah, hi all. Welcome to all the listeners of my buddy's podcast. It's thanking him for having me here. I think this is fourth episode. I've not got the time, to be honest, to listen to his other episodes yet. But I would, we've always been honest to each other. So that's the likely
Right.
point of this podcast. Also, we would want to discuss about divergent views on whatever the topics that he's chosen, which we generally don't discuss. So let's see how this goes. But yeah, going back to what he introduced, yes, we've almost pretty much known each other for the entire times of we've been here on this planet. Can't
Most
recall,
of our lives, yeah.
yeah, can't recall back to the primary days that much, but yeah, we've started to know each other since standard 5, and yeah, ever since then we've been in touch. Yes, there was a disconnect in between, but hardly I knew that there was a rough patch that he was going through, and I just happened to meet him like a regular meet. But later I got to know that he was definitely in a slump, and yeah, good that he's back doing things that he likes to do, things that he loves to do, and we're all here to support him. And yes, let's see how this podcast goes. And looking forward to an interesting conversation, which is not likely that is going to happen offline, but we'll see what's in store. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, really excited, bro. So just to kick things off, right? And this was one of the things we discussed as well before, beforehand. So I'm sure that you're prepared with a few, rough ideas or a few thoughts that you've got structured. So you know, the man, the myth, the legend, right? Rahul Sharad Dravid, right?
Yes, yes.
So he's a default role model for all Josephites, for all of us who've walked through the portals of that school, who've been fortunate to be admitted to St. Joseph's, and who've spent whatever time period we've spent there, those 6 years that we've spent, it sort of defined our lives. And we try to live up to the expectation of being a pass out of that school, and for having that as our alma mater, because it is a huge privilege, right? Not everyone gets the opportunity to study there. Like, what does Dravid mean to you, bro? Like, what would you say? What are the thoughts that come to mind?
Yeah, I mean, going back to how getting into school was a really big challenge, because likewise, you studied in a girls' school which had
Sapphires,
co-education,
right? Yeah.
till
Yeah,
fourth
co-ed.
standard.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a similar situation for me. I finished my initial primary schooling in Stella Maris, which is
Yeah.
the same pattern as what Sapphires follows. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, cut forward, we were supposed to have an entrance exams to Joseph's, and I
Yeah.
remember back then it was the legendary principal, Reverend
Father Michael John,
Michael.
yeah.
Yes, who
Yeah.
can we definitely cannot forget him for
Yes.
the contributions that he has done to school and the impact he has had on kids back then. And yeah, it's definitely edged. So yeah, the support of him for me being admitted to school was really vital, because
Phenomenal, yeah.
we had certain financial struggles back then. And he was the guide, and he threw light, and he told, yeah, Chalta, we'll take care of stuff. And I've been really blessed to be an alma mater or alumni of Joseph's. We wear the tag very proudly. And
Yeah.
recently did we know that it was ranked fourth throughout India. So that's
Yes.
just phenomenal. And good. And coming back to the question, Rahul Dravid. Yeah. So I mean, once we entered school, we did get to know that he was an alma mater, and we just wore that on our sleeve. We used to boast around saying that, where I study in Dravid School. So
Yeah.
we did do
Yeah.
that. And yes, Dravid is definitely a huge role model. I would like to first start off with the contributions that we watched. That is like not a personal, we have never had a personal interaction with him, but yes, it would definitely be his profession, which is cricket, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the impact that he's had, I think what Jack Callis had mentioned, if Dravid was born
Mm-hmm.
elsewhere where Sachin is
Mm-hmm.
not, he would have definitely been recognized to a much higher, you
He
know,
was overshadowed throughout his
correct.
career,
Yeah.
yeah.
So he was always a team's man. We know
Mm-hmm.
that. And I remember back then getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to watch the Australian tests, and, the 2003, 2004 series, and cut
Yeah.
forward 2007 series. And there was a downfall when he led the World Cup, and we got exited without getting into the Super 8s or whatever it was
We
back
didn't
then.
qualify, I believe, yeah.
No, we were in the groups. We didn't push forward to the Super 8s, I guess.
Yeah, something like that.
Some format of such
Yeah,
sort.
yeah.
But he's definitely had a role, indirectly played upon all us. I remember that he had visited school in when we were in ninth standard. I remember that you had
For
clicked a
the
photo.
yes, the sports day was there.
Correct,
Our 10th standard sports day, the sesquicentenary year, and for the opening ceremony of the 150-year celebration also.
correct. Yeah. So he did make a visit, and that was the closest I've got to Dravid. And I remember you clicking a picture of mine because I had got access to where he sat in the second left wing of the second floor, and I was a part of
I had that Kodak Digicam
Kodak.
back then.
Yeah, exactly. I remember you because I had access to cross the so-called security back then because I was a part of
Yeah,
NCC, and I somehow
there was
made
one guard chain that was
correct.
blocking the, was cordoning that place.
Yeah, they were guarding him, and I
Yeah,
don't know if you still have that photo. Would definitely,
yeah, I'll have to look for it. Yeah.
correct, cherish that if you have it. But yeah, the impact that he's had is just. I mean, how simple is it? The first factor that comes into the thing is the simplicity. The way he
Mm-hmm.
showed up at school, just like an old
Mm-hmm.
boy, like how we would just a normal person. Yes, there was a crowd gathering. That is because he is a celebrity, but the way he addressed the kids, the way he spoke, the way he took the time out, the way he is contributing to school, that is just
Right.
amazing. Because to just agree, despite I think he was playing back then still, and to make it to come
Very
to
much. He was the captain as well.
correct. So to
Definitely.
busy schedules and the trainings, and despite that, to come back and give it back to school, that's just just I don't know if we would be able to do it at that level if we reach to a level of having so many things on the calendar, just like what we are having to go through now. Because
Mm-hmm.
we have been thinking to get this podcast since probably 3 weeks, I guess. We wanted to
Yeah.
get this recording since 3 weeks, but the timelines didn't match, and we've been busy in our own lifestyles, our work, and whatnot. So, to have that commitment to come back and give it to school, and that's the second thing. And,
Right.
the rest is, all watched on TV, the levels of, courage, the levels of concentration, the
The
levels
grit.
of, yeah, the grit, the real
Yeah.
test. He was the real test to the bowlers,
Yeah.
not scoring of any balls for probably 2 3 hours, and just tiring the bowlers endlessly. That is another level.
I
So
think it was a test in Australia when he had 2 runs of 96 deliveries.
correct, yeah, that's the
Yeah.
I think the
Was it
SCG or
12 runs
MCG,
maybe?
yeah,
Yeah. And he
MCG
scored
or
the first
SCG.
run after 40
40
odd
balls,
balls.
correct,
Yeah. And
correct.
then he raised his bat.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a very good give back to the audience where
Mm-hmm.
I think they were sarcastic in, cheering him for every
Yeah.
dot ball, but
Yeah.
he just gave it back because it was the test. So seeing all these things, he's definitely had contributions. He's definitely a role model. And what else do you need in life when you can follow simple things like leading simplicity, giving it back to your roots, and having
Mm-hmm.
that determination to give back where he's earned his bread, that is cricket. Because he's not been quiet now. Also, he's been the head coach and he's contributed to NCA. He was the World Cup winning coach for the under 19. It's sad that
Yeah.
he was not part of a World Cup winning team, but the contributions that he's made is, I mean, like we are small to talk about it, yeah, and everyone knows too. So that's the level
True.
of impact he's had to all the 90s kids, because
Mm-hmm.
everyone who knew cricket and everyone who knew the actual test cricket, they can't, surpass without talking about Dravid. That's the level of impact he's had.
That's the benchmark. Yeah.
Correct. So
Yeah.
yes, that's about it, because can't really say much because we've never had an interaction like in a personal way. But seeing these things, yes, to take out things of simplicity, and yeah, he's lost his cool during an RR match, and yeah,
Yeah. I
those
mean,
things do
he's
happen.
human, right? He's
Correct.
human after all. Yeah.
Yeah, so errors do happen, and you do lose your calmness. But
Yeah.
yeah, he was the gentleman. He is the ambassador as a gentleman's game. So that's how you probably take things from him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, moreover, since you mentioned RR, right, the incident that happened in 2013, we all
Correct.
remember the
Yes.
the, the fixing incident when,
Scandal. Yeah.
yeah, Srishant and Chandila and a lot of other players were, caught in that whole fiasco and that saga that happened.
Correct.
The biggest fear from all that was not their careers because, yeah, I mean, that they are cricketers, but they're at much lower levels. Dravid by then was already a stalwart, right? He had retired from international cricket with an impeccable reputation. nobody could question his contribution to the game, and he was obviously a legend. This was like his way of signing off from the T20 format, and just calling it a day.
Correct.
And everyone was worried about his immaculate record till then. We were like, we can't afford to tarnish this guy's reputation, because a lot of players have lost their careers, right? Hansi Cronje, you talk about Azhar, you talk about Mohammad Amir. These guys, like these great players with a lot of potential, they've had this one bad incident, and then their careers are destroyed. Like, you can't come back from that. And they didn't want Dravid to be embroiled in a similar controversy. So that was the biggest fear. And even as a Joseph, we were all hoping and praying that Dravid's name doesn't get tarnished, because
there's no black mark on him.
You can't even introduce yourself as you're from Dravid school. Like, they'll be like, dude, but that guy fixed a match. Like, it doesn't even matter whether it's right or wrong. How the media can frame you, and how media can portray something as a fake sort of a fact that isn't reality. The fine print could be different, but then the way the headline shows what the country reads. And there could have been an agenda against him, but thank God that didn't happen. And he got out of it scot-free, and his name wasn't involved. And the actual guys who were involved in it had to bear the brunt and face the music. So that was a really scary moment, and I'm glad he got out of it.
Yes.
And for me, like, I take that question. So Dravid, the chivalry and the sort of gentleman that he is, that he's always demonstrated. Even recently, after he became the coach of the national side, after a practice session, there was a scene where a small clip, and the image made Twitter headlines, and then it was out in the papers as well, where he was picking up the cones, right, and he was bringing it back to the boundary.
Correct.
I mean, that shows, dude, he's the coach of the national team. There's absolutely no need to do that. He's got far more important things to do, but then he's setting an example.
Exactly.
Right? He's like, it doesn't matter how big you are, or what do you think about yourself. These things, the fundamentals, you finished your practice. Absolutely. It's important to help the staff, and then get done with it, right? So don't have that inequality, saying that the groundsmen are the ones who are supposed to clean up after you finish. So have that decency to start and finish it like a proper professional. That professional attitude, dude. Like, even when some people tell me you're such a gentleman, because I always keep that at the back of my mind. I've studied in Dravid school, so I'm like, in whatever I do, in every interaction that I have, it should be of a certain standard. It's not just about meeting people and then sort of discussing business. It's about how you do things. And that's what's important, and that's how people will grade you. You tend to learn that more as you get on in your professional career, because every conversation is important. Every discussion has a lot of leverage, because that's how people rate you as an individual. You may not talk to a person for another year, but then if they remember meeting 1 year back, and if you didn't come across as a genuine person, then that is going to speak volumes. So you always want to be down to earth, and you want to be true to yourself, and have a bit of that essence, right? That essence of class, right? But which you want to get across, and which obviously helps. I mean, being a nice guy, that will help you no matter what. It's easy to be cocky, it's easy to act over smart, but then it can come back and bite you in the ass at some stage. And you don't want that to happen. So
correct, exactly. Completely agree with that.
There's so much to learn from Dravid, and some men are institutions. It's not just this an individual. And this guy, I mean, and I've heard, towards the start of his career, when he got the Arjuna Award, apparently when he just started, I think around 97, 98, he he missed a call, right? There was a call. I think they had landlines back then, and then he missed a call, and then he called back, right? And then the lady's son, like whoever the organizer was of that, her son picked up the phone, and he introduced himself as, hello, sir. I'm Rahul Dravid. I received a call regarding so and so regarding the Arjuna Award. So can we discuss about it? And then that guy was a fan. So he was like, this guy, I got a chance to interact with Dravid, and then he was so respectful to me, and he's calling me sir. Like, that was a big story by itself. So there's a lot of things he's done, bro. Like he apparently sent a mail to Kevin Peterson regarding his technique.
Correct.
And
Yeah, I've heard about this. Yes, correction around the technique when he had a slump in his career. Correct.
He's done that to a lot of other cricketers. I think Shahid Afridi also mentioned that he went to the Pakistani dressing room and then greeted the players after a particular test, and there's a lot of things like that, dude, which even now we don't get to know, because a lot of them they may not have come out. But then you get to know, I mean, what kind of a person he is, because he's always been level-headed. He's not gone too far ahead of himself, even during victories. And you don't see much of a change, right? He's always sort of steely nerve, and he's always been on that balance. So you don't see too much of a slump. Yeah, even if you see him like after a defeat, he's very gracious in accepting it. And even the recent South African series, right? He's the one who took the press conferences when India lost, and there was a big debate as to why he's coming out and why not Virat, why the captain is not taking it. But he's always been a team man. He's always done, he's always put himself in those uncomfortable positions. When he's been asked to keep, he's kept. Whenever he's been asked to field wherever, he's done that. At slip or short cover or wherever it is. And now he was the India A coach. He was in broadcasting initially after he retired. They asked him to do India A, he did that. They asked him to do under 19, he did that. Now senior team, they don't have anyone, so he's got a proven track record. He's doing that as well. Like, he would do anything that's needed, because it's the sport that's given everything to him. And just to finish off, apparently this is something that Dominic sir had said. One of the music teachers. I remember this from back in school, or he might have said it in an interview somewhere, that Dravid from class 5, apparently, he had decided that, he'll make it as an international cricketer. Right? And that's something they ask us in school. I remember, some of the teachers, they've asked us, like, what do you want to become? And he was very focused, and he was, with unequivocal attention, and with that conviction, he declared, like, in the class, like, dude, it takes a certain amount of balls to be able to admit that, right? You're a small kid of like 10, 11 years old, and to be able to say that I'll play for India one day, and I'll play cricket for India one day, and to achieve it, and to become a stalwart and someone who's one of the greats of the game, who defines Test cricket, and who when you talk about Test cricket, in the top 5 individuals, his name is definitely featured. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, I mean, coming to the point of the laurels, he was the first non-Australian to orate the Don Bradman's speech, right?
Right.
The level of contribution, the level of contribution, as you told, he's just been simple human, which a lot of people have forgotten how to live today. I mean, they wear their egos on their head, their pride on their back or shoulder, whatever it is. And simple things like, cleaning the stuff. I mean, I remember, this is completely off topic. I remember after a BFC game in Kantirava, cleaning up the seats. And one more thing is, you have to feel a little, proud about the Japan team, I think, who, all the players cleaned up the entire stadium or one block.
After the Russia World Cup,
Correct, exactly.
When they got knocked out in the semis.
So these things are, minuscule things, right? It's basic, but not many. I mean, the majority of them don't do it. And that's the reason it receives the limelight. it actually shouldn't, but it does receive, because these things are, organic elements that have been missed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
As they say, right? Humility is greatness.
correct, exactly.
No, it's always easy to be boastful and to show a lot of to have that bravado and to uh,
Correct.
act like you're the best. Like that's the current life, that's the Instagram life that we live. We try to show
uh,
the best aspects and we try to show all the successes, but then the dirty stuff, the ugly stuff that is not nice when you do it. But then when you think about that act, right, those are not things that ordinary people would do,
Correct,
and
correct,
that's what
exactly.
defines
Defines them.
certain
Yeah.
individuals. Yeah,
Yeah, and
that's what
also
separates them.
coming to a point, I think back in time there was a conference, or he came up. I mean, there was a question that was fired at him about Virat's attitude and stuff, and Dravid completely backed him, because Dravid knew that. I mean, I think it was a question that would you behave like a Virat or whatever. I am not sure, but
Mhm.
Dravid completely backed Virat's behavior, because that's his
Right.
originality. Because
Yeah,
he told
yeah,
that that's his originality. What I want the kids to take from that is, you gotta be original. You can't see Rahul Dravid doing that, because this is my original and that is
yeah.
Virat's original. So when you pick up things or traits from your role models, make sure that
Right.
you don't lose your originality. I mean,
Yeah,
that
I mean,
was
the
the
authenticity
point.
has to always take precedence. I
Correct.
mean, you can't change
Exactly.
as a person. Yeah,
Exactly. So that was really nice, and even with the recent controversies that have been happening in the Indian cricket, the way he backs the team, as you've already mentioned, he's always been a team's man, and what happens in the team stays in the team. I think that's the level of integrity he follows, and
yeah.
lots to pick from him, and hopefully we can grab 10% of what he's done and maybe achieve laurels in our lives. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, that's the thing, right? When you think about someone with that kind of a track record, you obviously can't replicate it because it's just too great. But you can pick up small things. You can pick up small
Exactly.
yeah, you can pick up small nuances from their behavior and their attitude and the way they've gone about their business, and then implement it in whichever way you can, in your
Whichever
own
path.
personal life,
Correct. Exactly.
right? And we all have the opportunity to do that, and it's a choice, whether you want to do it or whether you don't. And somewhere down the line, when you get compliments and all that, you tend to feel proud inside, saying, yeah, I mean, there's a reason why I did that, and I'm glad that it's being noticed,
Correct. Exactly.
right?
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, the Bradman oration you mentioned as well, that's when he proposed the day night test format, and that is something that has been implemented. So that's the influence he's
Exactly.
had on the game,
Exactly.
right? When
Yeah.
you can transform a format of a game with your
Exactly.
speech, right, with
Yep.
your thoughts, that shows the influence and the
The
weightage that you
power.
give,
Correct.
yeah, to someone of his stature, right?
Exactly.
And you still see him. I mean, even now, for the under 19, the World Cups or wherever he is, he's just wearing an India jersey with shorts. He's not wearing like a suit, or he's not looking flashy or anything,
Exactly.
because he's just one. He knows he's
Job.
just one. Yeah, he's
Correct.
doing it as a job, and it's just a role within the team. It's not
Correct.
something to show off about. The team success is what he carries. He doesn't want to be at the forefront of the attention. So yeah, I mean, just actions speak louder than words, man.
Exactly. I
And
think
that's
who was this? I think it was Matthew Hayden. If you want to see
yeah,
real fire
real aggression. Yes, yes, yes,
aggression, you
yeah,
just look into Dravid's eyes.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So that
yeah.
was
I
one
wanted
thing,
to
and
mention that as well. Correct.
yeah, and that
Yeah.
was one thing, and there was one more. I think VVS or Virendra Sehwag. I think if there is anyone who would get stabbed for the Indian cricket team, it would be Dravid. So
Yeah,
that's the
that's
level of
the
contribution.
that's the reputation he set. Yeah,
Exactly. Lots
and
to take, lots to take, lots to take. I mean, every time we speak about him, it goes on. It's like
yeah,
endless. Even though it's not
exactly.
personal, like we've never had the opportunity to have a personal interaction. The level of
Correct.
influence he's had, and
Yeah.
we being
And just to go back to the thing you mentioned about school, like on that sports day, they had that OBA event where they have it like, houses wise, and then everyone comes and takes part. And he obviously, for security reasons or for whatever reason, he can obviously back out because you can get injured, something can happen, when you're playing those kind of events, although it's unlikely. Then he was gracious enough to come down all the way from the third floor. He was wearing a proper suit and black shoes and all that. He still came. He took part in the event. He played it like everyone else, and then he went back. I mean, that just shows like he
Yes.
doesn't. Yeah.
I mean, to give it
So
back to your
down to earth.
roots, to
Yeah.
give it back to your roots and not forget where you've come from. That's the ultimate thing, because
Yeah.
you have to. I mean, it's a journey, right? Whatever we are moving forward in life, it's a journey, and to not forget yourself, what you are, whatever
Right.
yesterday. Also, that defines
Yeah.
the what the culture that he holds and the
Yeah.
influence that he has on the youngsters.
Right. I mean, but that's easier said than done, bro. I mean, once you
Exactly. I
get to
mean,
a certain point,
level. Yeah.
yeah, it's natural to think that, dude, like, I don't give a shit. Like,
Exactly.
come on. I mean, you
I
can't
mean,
be calling me.
the schedules, right? The schedules that he had that time because he was a player back then,
Yeah, he
right?
was
So
the
it's not
captain. He
easy.
was the captain,
Exactly.
bro. Yeah. And he
So
still took time
it's
out
just
and
tremendous,
came.
tremendous, tremendous.
Yeah.
I mean, there are no words, man. There are a lot of adjectives that we can put
Yeah.
or tag him along, but it just goes
Correct.
on and on and on.
And just to finish that off, his son Samit is doing very well at the state level and all that. I believe is a good all-rounder, like a good batsman and a bowler. And because of whatever pressure, he even got him admitted in Joseph's. So he spent a few years there. And
Mhm.
apparently Dravid used to come and pick him up from school,
Oh,
like
is
on
it?
whenever he
I
could. Yeah.
he did he school in Joseph's? I thought
He,
he
he
schooled as
was
well.
there. He was there for a few years, and then now he's
Okay.
moved out. I think he's in NPS or some
Correct,
school like
correct.
that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So for other logistical reasons, he's moved out. But then that is how much he's giving back, right? Because you have like a superstar father, and when your son is in Joseph's, I mean that's nice, just to continue the legacy. The
Exactly.
fact that he's offered to do that.
Yeah. And I think he was
Just
on the
never
news.
ends.
He was on the news also, right? And there was he didn't pick up any preference when he had gone as a parent ward to a parent teacher meeting at school, and he just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just stood like a normal parent because he didn't want
Right,
to take a preference or precedence because he's an international star or a superstar.
right,
He
right,
just took
right.
because he entered the school as a father. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
just shows the
I
level
mean, yeah.
because it's easy
There's
even
no
if
end to
we
the simplicity.
correct even if we probably reach a level
Manifest.
of or maybe if we reach levels of 10% or 20%, I don't think
Yeah.
we would do this, right? We would
We
definitely inform
wouldn't like
someone.
we
Yeah,
die for attention, bro. There's
correct.
someone who recognizes you. You're like, yeah,
Yeah,
dude, yeah, dude. Like, yeah,
correct.
come, let's get a selfie. Like, how do you know
Yeah,
me? Like, let's tell the world about this.
correct.
But
So
Dravid is not on any social media. I mean, let's acknowledge that first of all.
exactly. I
And
mean, it's not his game, so he's not. He stayed away.
yeah,
Yeah,
he isn't because he knows, that
the
it is
friction.
it
It's a
is a
friction
place
that
to
he
show
might.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
and that's just
friction.
not his style. And
Correct.
just one more thing I'm reminded of is this show called Legends on Star Sports that Harsha Bogle used to do. So they had a lot of cricketers, right? Hayden Dravid and all that. And then in Dravid's episode towards the end, right? So just to conclude, Harsha says, it's unlike Dravid to say it, but then I'll say it for him that he's been a legend of the game, and Dravid's blushing,
Yeah,
because I mean, he clearly is, but he's never going to acknowledge that,
correct.
because
I
yeah,
mean,
that's
yeah.
just the way he is.
Yeah, and
And
the way he, I think it was his farewell or felicitation. I don't remember exactly. He had also mentioned that I mean, yeah, I think it was Sachin's felicitation, I think. And he
mhm.
mentioned that he was absolutely honored to share dressing room with Sachin, despite him
Sachin,
being a great to the game.
yeah,
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 we all
yeah,
consider he's the god of cricket, but still, there's no need for him to say it. But when he says that he was lucky enough to share the dressing room, just
yeah,
speaks volumes of what his past is. Because he would have definitely dreamt about, he would have looked up to Sachin because Sachin started way earlier to Dravid, right?
of
So
course, yeah. 7 years is senior, I believe.
correct. So to to acknowledge that
Yeah,
he's been lucky enough to share. despite to have achieved what he has achieved, that just speaks
Mm.
volumes that he never forgets where he's from, or he never forgets his roots.
Right, right. And such is his influence that, I mean, we shouldn't be saying it in the same conversation, but Shilpa Shetty, who's the owner of
RR.
Rajasthan Royals,
Mhm.
she goes on to say that her son, once he grows up, I would like him to be like Dravid.
Exactly,
Who
exactly.
knows what the motivation was, but then that's the impact he's had in a short span of time on that
Exactly.
franchise. It's tainted, and that there's been a lot of things that's happened in the background, but then still, that's how he comes across, and that's how he impacts people in a short span of time, and that is the power of Dravid, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And yeah, it's phenomenal, bro. So
Goes on and on and
yeah,
on.
goes on and on. There's no real end to it. So just to transition from there, right? We're talking about Dravid and cricket in India.
Exactly.
So what do you think about sports in India in general? Like, do you think how is it laid out? And cricket obviously gets a lot of the limelight.
Attention. Correct.
Yeah, but then like, what are your views on the other sports and then just that dynamic?
Yeah, I mean, see, the weightage that cricket has just shows like I mean there's a national sport like hockey which is not acknowledged to a level of what
Yeah,
cricket is.
yeah.
So I don't know if we can put it as the word partiality or what happens behind and what contributions does cricket have on the nation. There are different attributes to it, right? You take the
Right.
economic factor, you take the entertainment factor, you take the love factor, you take the following factor.
Mhm.
Cricket is
Cricket is the
often
religion.
correct. It's often considered the religion,
Yeah.
right? So there is one religion that unites everyone is cricket in India. So, but yes, it's good to see taking the positives. It's good to see off late the last two Olympics that India have done well, considering what we had not achieved for probably 2, 3 centuries. I mean, not centuries, decades, like 20, 30 years. I
Yeah.
think the last gold medal that we could think of was
2008, I believe.
yeah,
Abhinav Bindra.
but before that, it was something to do with only hockey, I guess. That was way back,
Yeah,
way back.
2004 was Rajavardhan Rathore in archery.
Yeah, but we didn't get a
And
gold, I guess, right?
96, we had a bronze. Yeah, we never got a
Yeah,
gold.
that was Bindra, right? Bindra
Yeah,
was the
before
first.
2008. Yeah,
Exactly. So it just goes back that, we've been the second largest in terms of population.
population. Yeah.
We do have talent, but, to have that fine graining, where I think we had a small discussion. When we were in school, the level
Mm.
of traction that football used to get was very less, right? And
Yeah.
fast forward, I think recently, 3, 4 years ago, when we got to know that City is recruiting young talent and Atletico Madrid is, contributing to the young generation of India. We felt
Yes.
a little, we felt good that, football is taking strides in India. But,
Yeah.
we were just joking around that probably if these things were there back in school, we would have been at a different career.
Right.
We
Right.
would have had different careers because the opportunities taking back to 10 years ago was very bleak.
Mm-hmm.
Taken into athletics or football, it was very
Yeah.
less. But times are changing, and I mean, yes, a lot of factors. Again, it goes on and on the list, right? Starting from the root level of the person having the passion to pursue it, and the number of obstacles he needs to, overcome to, reach a certain level. I'm not talking about
Yeah.
international. I'm just speaking about something like a district or a state level. It's
Mm-hmm.
immense. It's immense. But
Yeah.
yes, there are multiple factors like even luck that need to favor your side. So the influence of athletics also, I think it was cool, right? Because we had a largely celebrated sports day. I mean, like
Yeah. Yeah.
the scale at which the sports was supported in school. I mean, we have to thank our PE teacher Shiv Prakash,
Yeah. Yeah.
the contributions that he has had, and this, it just the level of contribution that it had or
Correct.
impact it had. it's different because having so many kids pushed towards participation, leave the winning part, and the clear aspect there was someone will develop an interest towards it. That was the whole agenda, right? That was the whole agenda behind it. So it's not like, okay, you will win a medal or we'll have to do this or that. Nothing. The agenda was that during that is the age where you pick up interests, what do you want to do, or what do you want to be, or what do you want to become, right? So you never know, right? If someone would have picked up an interest in a short put or long jump or whatever the athletics it is, the scale at which the school did sports day was just immense. I don't think a lot of schools in India, especially, I think that's also another factor that we have to take out here, because there should be some standardization of protocols when they set up schools, because I see schools hardly have playgrounds and school grounds, and it's just a block of building, and that's not how it's supposed to be. Again, we were so blessed to have a huge playground, and we had swimming pool and whatnot. We were at a top school, right? And definitely those things need to be in bare minimums. What we speak about needs to be changed. We need to have school grounds, because that is where you pick up talent, that is where you pick up your passion, and that is where you probably have that determination. Okay, I'm going to take this as a career. Otherwise, we wouldn't have seen a Dravid now, right? I think it was his school that pushed him to become a cricketer. That he jokes around that he hated math. That's why he put. I think it was commerce, right? He put double the effort.
I don't know what that whether it's validated or not, whether it's a true statement or not, but apparently he signed up for CA and he saw the list, the set of books, and he just looking at the size of the books, he focused harder on cricket.
Correct. He doubled his efforts on cricket.
I mean, it sounds like something he would say, but again, we don't know, because I believe just after BCom he started playing, Ranji and all that.
Correct.
So, I mean, knowing his focus, he would have obviously decided what to do. And
exactly. So coming back to the points, take sports. Good that certain things are taking shape. Football, especially the ISL and stuff. And we have been to matches in Kantirava supporting BFC, supporting Chetri, and booing the oppositions, the Kerala's, the Chennai's, having the derbies. So it's good, that culture, the vibe, there's still a lot of scope for improvement and development, but it's a start. It needs to, everything that has become big needs to start somewhere. It was definitely small, right? So good that it's progressing, and even the recent, gold medal towards javelin and, by Neeraj Chopra, that's just inspiring. I mean, to overcome the barriers, we have no idea. Maybe we can expect a biopic of him, the Bollywood style, but at least probably we would definitely get some points of all the struggles he had to go through to reach to a point that he has reached.
Exactly.
So everyone speaks about the laurels, but the struggles and coming to sports also, we have to mention about, like, I personally would take out our benchmates, Alan's name, the level of impact that he could put on his fellow Josephites.
I mean, national immense. Silver medalist, right?
Correct.
Meters,
Exactly. Immense, right? Back in school, the way he would sprint and the way he would run.
Yeah, I mean, that's something, the competitive edge that we had.
Exactly.
That's always been ingrained in us, and I wonder where that comes from, because that's something to do with the spirit, the Josephite spirit, that even if you suck, right, even if you're terrible at something, like you still want to, like, somehow do it. Exactly. Like get better at it and try to get a good outcome.
Exactly.
And just an inspiring story that I'm reminded of, this guy called Rio, that guy who had like polio, or he had that issue with his
junior,
nerves,
right? Junior, right? Yeah.
He had some nerve issue in his legs. He's now doing pretty well, right? He's in the HR field, and I see his posts on LinkedIn, and because of his condition, like he gets a good amount of traction on everything that he shares. So he's doing well in HR. So he's working for some MNC. And in I think 8th or 9th standard, when he was towards the end of one of his last years, he took part in the heats for 200 meters, I believe. And they got a video of that. They got a video of that because he knew when the race started that he's definitely going to lose by a long shot.
Exactly.
Because obviously he can't run. Like he'll probably trip over if he tries to run, right? But he ran and then he completed that entire lap.
This is something that I
that is
haven't
a
heard of.
video that should be shown, at every occasion, because he did it. Like, he didn't bother about what the outcome is going to be. He wanted to finish the race, and he wanted to take part in the heats, right? Exactly. He wanted to be part of the sports day, because that shows his mindset, to just try, to attempt,
participate. That's the thing. I mean, like,
that's the thing. Like, give it your best shot.
Exactly. Yeah, as you told, I don't know where it comes. Maybe I think it's the way it's been taken in school. I mean, so many people being pushed towards participation, and you just get that vibe in you, being at that age. Yeah, take me for example. I mean, the level of competition was too hard. I think six racers would run for a 200-meter or 100-meter dash. So we had to have the prelims, and you had to pass that, right? So I was always participating, and I never made it through for the dashes. But I'm proud to say that I've always made it to the finals of long jump. So I've never won a medal. I think I won third place, which didn't have a medal. I think we only had gold and silver. We had a certificate for the third place, right? I think I did receive third place. I'm not sure, but for me, it was always participation. I think it was triple jump in 9th standard or something. So I did make it to the final. So that just is enough, right? You were in the top 6. So that is what is important. I mean, medals, yes, you dream about it. That's the final goal. But you need to start somewhere. You would not get a medal if I had not made it to the top 6, right? But I lost to the best, so I at least have that pride.
I mean, that's how hard it was, right? That's how hard it was. And you spoke about Alan, so you've got to take Joshua in that same breath.
Correct.
That guy is now an evangelizer, and I hope to have him on the show sometime, because there's a lot to catch up on. Definitely. And I remember how hard they were training, right? They were going one after the other, and Joshua, I would say, is more Cristiano, whereas Alan is Messi. In that the natural ability is a lot more with Alan, and Joshua had to work hard to get where he was. But then ultimately, Joshua's hard work got him the individual championship, right? Which was the ultimate prize. We had the inter-school thing as well in 10th, where schools from all over Bangalore. But then everyone knew, before the race started, that it's Alan versus Joshua.
Exactly.
The rest of them are kind of irrelevant. Like it's Bolt versus Blake. The rest of them are just there for show.
Correct.
So and there was this guy Rajiv, I believe, one of the senior guys. He had like a good video cam back then, and he had taken like a video of that 400 meters race, the inter-school one, and you can see like a photo finish, like they're going stride towards the finish line.
Correct,
and you can't tell, even if you zoom in, who has finished. But I think Alan won that race, but then that's how close that was. That was like, you needed like replays and all that to decide the winner. Right. And that was cool, dude. Like that was intense, and that competition, like the desire to be the best, that's always been there with us, right?
Yes.
In everything that we do,
Correct.
whatever projects
I think even there was a surprise package, I think, in high school when Alvin showed up to have picked up his game. I don't know what he did in summer vacations. All of a sudden we see him giving competition. I mean, Joshua and Alan were the epitome of running, but
this guy was not bad. Because finish your point.
Correct. That guy was fast too. I mean, it was a surprise package, right? I think I remember that we were all like shocked. I mean, like, where did this guy come from? I mean, he was not even noticed for probably 3 years.
Around eighth or so, 7th.
High school after we started.
Got a lot better,
Exact. So, see, that's the point, right? You start picking up your passion, your interest. Don't know what they're up to now, but it would definitely be nice to catch up. all these people at some point in the future. You never know when it's going to happen, but yes.
Yeah.
Hoping to.
Just another point on Joshua. He was close to losing his life in the fifth standard because he had dengue, and that was very severe. I think he got admitted late or something like that, and his platelet levels were extremely low. Like he was in the ICU for a few days, and that weakened him. So like fifth and sixth, he was on and off, and then he really got back into it. Like high school, he was like properly back into sport.
They're not aware of this.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like once you're out of 10th, right, you get into different colleges, and then whatever happens later on, but then it's a choice for you. But in school, I felt it was mandatory to be competitive, because if you want that respect, right, if you want the respect of your peers, you want a classmates to like look at you and then have that value for you. You had to show up and you had to do well at whatever you're expected to do. If you're a footballer, like go win a tournament. Like, if
score
not,
a goal.
like we used to make fun of the cricket team, if you remember, because they're the only team which didn't win anything.
Yes.
And like our batch, we won everything, like every tournament we were in. I mean, just that desire for excellence, bro.
Exactly.
That sort of, that was ingrained in us.
Even I think back to a point where, maybe a little bit of support. I mean, because few things do matter, right? I mean, to have that support from your family and to pick up cricket, you need to have a kit and stuff. As I mentioned earlier, there were some financial constraints, right? So I can't crib about it now. So I am at the best place I can be now. So let's be gracious about that. So, but maybe you never know, right? Because I definitely knew I had raw talent towards cricket. Because recent tournament also that we had in OBA tournament. I mean, I took part and I was opening the batting, and we went to the finals. We didn't think of winning one game, but we runners up our tournament. We were the oldest team. We were the
I mean, that I haven't told you in person, but then I could tell the grief in your voice, when you told me that you lost the final, honestly, like, who gives a fuck, bro, at this stage? Like, dude, it's fine. We got to the final, we tried our best. And you were hurt, like you were genuinely hurt, like you wanted to win, the whole thing.
Exactly. I mean, like when you're in the last ride and you lose it there, if you had lost it earlier, we would be like, okay, we had no practice. We were never a team together. I mean, all the people who were a part of the team, right? All the team members, we never played cricket together, to be honest.
Right.
So it was all like an impromptu cricket team that was formed over 2 weeks and
makeshift,
exactly. And it was bloody cold weather in the morning. We had a first game at 7:30 in the morning, and you have to imagine that we were the oldies. We were playing 2017. I think the first game was against 2017 pass out, and we were 209. So there's
8 years,
8 years gap, and it speaks that you can pull it off. You just need that.
It's the desire. It's a desire to win.
Exactly.
You mentioned the support of the parents. I mean, shout out to my dad, right? He would get up early in the morning. He would wake me up. He would drop me to practice. Day after day, and and Raju sir, right? God rest his soul. Passed away a few years back. He would come on dot 7. He would not be a minute late. And he would be the first one in the ground. Like everyone would be there after Raju. And that man was old, dude. Like even at that time when he was coaching us, he was like around 60. And he was still so fit. And he would give us like good suggestions on how to improve our game and all that because of his vast experience. And the ultimate professional.
Correct. I mean, setting examples of coming on time and that discipline, right? It's sport means a discipline, right?
And it wasn't even like now. I think school is a lot better because you've got like proper goalposts and all that. But back then we used to train with bags.
We
had nothing, and how the ground used to become when it rained, when it flooded, right? There were puddles all over.
Puddles everywhere.
Those are the facilities we had to practice in. But then just the desire to win. Like even in the 8th standard, I remember, Martin Joseph was the coach, and we didn't have like a full-time coach, and he got sick or something like that happened. We had like barely any practice. but still we showed up for Baldwin's, and then there was a blunder, and then we got knocked out of the semis. But we still won the first two league matches 3-0.
I think there was some fixing part or something involved there. I think the boys were upset because the referees were not giving fouls and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I think
That's kind of how it was. It was
exactly.
like how you have Fergie time. No, you used to have Fergie time with United matches, so the referees were always on the home side.
Correct.
And
that's expected.
we won convincingly in the 10th standard final. When we lost in the league stage, we lost to them 1-0. Mm-hmm. And they had a far better team, bro. Let me tell you. They had those Northeast guys.
Yeah, we've heard about all these things, right?
I remember the names also. Bolson, this guy called Imche, and Nongpok. Nongpok was later on in Christ. So I played with him in Christ, yeah.
Okay.
And those guys were class. Like, they have the football talent sort of, inbuilt in them. Like
maybe
their legs and all that.
Yeah, the Northeast, right? So I think it's all the genetic part that plays a role there, because even you take Chetri and you take Baichung, they're just
they have that advantage, that definite
genetic advantage, right?
Yeah, that's one step ahead of the rest of us. Like we're not that agile, I would say, compared to them. So that fitness really helps, and that Asian genes that they have, that that brings them at par with the few of these European players.
Exactly.
So but still we found a way, right? We won convincingly. We won 2-0 against them in the final. Good stuff, bro. Good memories.
Good, yeah. It's like nostalgic chat until now.
Yeah.
It's just that it's over a recording.
This is I've sort of framed the questions, the topics in coherent fashion. So let's move on to the education side, right? Now, when you talk about the Indian education system in the way that it's structured, if you could sort of weigh it out as a percentage of how much is theory, how much is practice. Right? How much can be practically implemented in a corporate field or in real life? I would say it's about a 90-10 at max.
Yeah,
90% theory.
That's the figure. That's the figure I had in my head.
Yeah, I think that needs to change, bro. A lot of sort of rejig and revamping is required to transform and sort of scrap the existing system to move away from the rhetoric and the whole memorization aspect, to make it more practical and get you thinking, because we actually don't think,
exactly.
and we don't think at any stage of life as well. Yeah. Like even our decisions and everything, they're sort of by default, you sort of end up where you are, and then you come to a point, about 5-6 years down your professional career, when you're like, I think I'm not really cut out for this. I think I have other interests. I think I should be elsewhere.
Exactly. Yeah. Putting that, it needs to be restructured. Definitely. I think we're not. Fast forward. I think we are. I think I graduated 6-7 years. Damn, that feels like
14. You would have. I think
15.
15.
Yeah. So that makes me feel old. If I say that. So it's like 6 years or 7 years ago. Yeah, I think a lot of things have changed. To be honest, I had an opportunity to visit my college. I'm talking about the engineering college. So yeah, I had small discussions with the teachers that I knew, and a lot of things have changed, and they had multiple labs. I'm talking in perspective of computer science, because that was my domain. Right. So there were, the latest technologies which are uptrend in the market, which were introduced as lab structures in the syllabus, which was really good. People who were interested, or students who were interested, could take it up and have that interest and take it forward. So that was there. But I remember back in my time, I had fought with the HOD, to be honest. I had first, just zoomed into the department first, not the HOD, the staff room where the teachers sit. So I just started complaining that why on earth do we not have a Java lab? I mean, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Why?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, as that's the most basic programming language I think of.
Right.
Yes, we did have C programming, but why on earth do we not have practical labs for Java? Okay, and
Yeah.
teachers didn't have any answers, and they
C is
told,
redundant, right? I mean,
correct,
that's
yeah,
an erstwhile language.
yeah, that's the base, and Java is all written on C. So, but that's
Yeah.
the graph. You start using frameworks, and that's the level it comes to. It
Mhm.
makes coding easier. So
Yeah.
C would have had 100 lines to achieve a function, but Java
Hmm.
would have made it 50 lines because of the
Right,
packaging
right.
and stuff.
It's more
So
condensed.
correct. Just telling on a high terms. So I
Hmm.
was pretty upset. Why do we not have? And the teachers were like, we need this same intensity, and we will come behind you. Let's go to the HOD.
Hmm.
And I told I don't have a problem. They asked me, do you have a problem? Would you talk in the same manner to the HOD? I told, yeah, if it's
Hmm.
definitely going to benefit, I would put a point. I would put a point. So I just went there and I had a discussion, and yes, they told that they would consider. I don't know if that had an impact of what is being structured today, because a lot of other things have also mattered, because they want to make my college a separate university rather than
Right.
VTU. So,
Autonomous. Hmm.
correct, autonomous. So maybe that would have played a factor, but I did my part. I
Hmm.
did make my point that it's ridiculous that we don't have practical knowledge. When you say that I'm a computer science engineer and you give me a fact textbook and tell me that, okay, write a program in an exam. No, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
I'll have to type it out. I'll have to see how it works. I have to run it. I have to execute it. If you want to talk in technical terms, that's how it should
Exactly.
be. And we had
Yeah.
something useless. I don't even use it today. Computer graphics. See, that should have been optional. Why on earth would I
Hmm.
want to look at computer graphics if I'm not even interested? So
Right.
they should have made that optional, and they would have definitely lent it out to people who are interested. But Java was mandatory because that's the core of programming. And I mean, it's sad that it didn't happen back then, but good that I had set my foot forward into computing way back in school itself. We had that sixth language of choosing between PT, economics, and
Electives. Yeah. Yeah.
electives,
Yeah.
right? So I chose computers since then. So I mean,
Hmm.
I had studied Java back then. It was called BlueJ, and that was the packaging. So
Hmm.
I had the base knowledge, but it's unfortunate that not everyone would have had that, right. So
Yeah. You did
and
it out of your own interest. You took it
exactly,
up
see,
because you were inclined towards it.
I had the inclination towards it. I had the passion towards it, and yeah, I pushed forward, and yeah, it happened. It worked out, and I'm in the same working
Domain.
environment
Yeah.
today. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't work the same with probably 85% of engineers today. So the structuring, as you mentioned, right? It's first you need to cut down the number of colleges. I don't see a need, but it's such a vast population, and you have to give a degree, and that's the probably the cheapest degree you can give, commerce or engineering, because
Hmm.
medical would definitely have its different finance structuring. So
Yeah.
I am like quite, I mean, a lot of factors, right? You have what, 200 colleges or 240 colleges of engineering, and doesn't really make
Yeah.
sense to have so many, and and again, politicians involved in colleges, and
I mean, it's become a business at this point.
exactly. There
Yeah.
is it's a law in India that you can't pick up what gains or profits from education, but you really
Yeah.
think that is followed? No, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of restructuring. I'm saying from my domain, yes, that 90-10 is definitely the number that I was, thinking about
Hmm.
to tell, but you put it out of your mouth
Yeah.
immediately. So that's the exact figure I had, not exaggerating here. It was
Hmm.
90-10, and probably it's become at least 30 now, at least 30, because you can't have it to balance it out overnight. It's a process. It's a
Yeah.
process to
Yeah.
migrate, right? It's a migration process. So hoping at least it's 30, 35, 40
Yeah.
today, and we would definitely see more, because why I'm saying this is it's the 2 3 years trend that I'm seeing towards the number of startups and the unicorns that have been funded in India. So that's the impact of, definitely there is impact there because of the regulations and the formulations that have been formed by the current central government. There's definitely a push by them, about the Make in India and that strategy, right? And that has played a role. But apart from that, I think definitely this practical thing where they've, probably got it in their UG programs, undergraduate programs, definitely would have played a role. I'm definitely sure it's not 90-10 today, but it was 90-10 back in time when I was a student. Hoping that it's at least 30-35. Now, I'll have to probably crash into my college and just see the syllabus once, so I would understand what exactly is happening. I can do that because they were asking me to, guest lecture once, and they were like, you can keep coming, you can come motivate the students, you can give the real-time examples on how things work outside college, because me being in the field today, I could definitely give a word of advice or two to the upcoming engineers, right? So they definitely want to do that. I think I should take that up, any small benefit or anything giving back to where you are from, that's the prime thing. That's the smallest contribution you can do. So I definitely doing that.
Exactly. I mean, that is definitely something you should do, because sharing is really important. The gap between the course and the market, I think that is huge.
Exactly.
Right? Because what you know, because couple of things there. One thing is, just remember something that happened in my prior experience, right? There was this guy who was handling the payroll function, the payroll accounting function. His name was Naveen, and there was a new guy that had come in, right? And he was qualified. He was a chartered accountant, and he had about 1 year's experience in Deloitte, where he had worked, and then he had joined this role. And of course, I mean, I wouldn't say that role is that technical. Someone with about 1 week, a couple of weeks training should get a good grasp of what has to be done. But this guy, on the first day, right, when they sat together, because he was going to be the process lead, and this guy was going to be, sort of reporting to him, and for whatever reason, like he was not happy with that. He told him, you're a CA, so you should know. Right? Okay. He expected him to have that knowledge, but then it's completely different. Like what you study in books is different from what you apply in the corporate setup. It's all process oriented, and it's different, and it depends on how each company is doing things. So people have that mindset that if you've got a degree that you know everything in how a company functions. But I mean, you would have read a few things about how finances and how the markets work, and the depths of the taxes, direct, indirect, and SFM and all that. But then what you actually have to apply in a particular role is something that is different altogether, and it doesn't depend on what course you've done, right?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Completely agree.
And another thing that I was reminded of is what Devi Shetty said, right? He was asked, like, sometime during the pandemic, when we had a shortage of medical staff, that people were saying that the health industry is stressed, and we won't have capable doctors to handle the pandemic and all that. So he was like, stop having paid seats, right?
Exactly.
People should get into medicine based on merit.
Exactly.
Right? Based on merit. So if you're capable, if you got the required marks, then you should automatically get in, because those are the ones who have the talent and the aptitude for that field. Otherwise, you've incurred, a huge, lump sum of money by spending your life savings on, getting that degree, and then you want to overcharge the patients and try to recover it, and it becomes a big mafia after that.
Correct.
And we all know, what's going on in that industry, right?
Exactly. Goes back to the point that commerce and engineering is the cheapest degree that you can fetch, and that's the reason it's been mass loaded like that. But things should change, because there should be. I mean, I don't think we would request or demand transparency towards how things function, but at least it's got to be a little translucent, because this paid system, yes, I mean, I agree, but at least in clinical roles of being doctors, I don't think you need paid system there, because it's life and death matter. Come on, you're dealing with human bodies, and you can't have someone out of pure money who wants to get into, or he wants to pursue doctor. You can't do that. You probably can try it out in engineering or something. He might develop interest. You can have paid seats here, but it's ridiculous to have paid seats in something that is related to life and death. Come on, you can't do that. That's just a faulty system, and there's I don't think there's anything that we can do in our past to change it, because it's all held at it's all these colleges are definitely held by people who are at power. You know what I mean. So it's all politically driven. So contributions from the political side are definitely there, and that it's the political influence that works in India. Every person who is achieved a lot from civil services also needs to bow down to the politician. So that's just ridiculous. I mean, like, a highly qualified IAS officer has to listen to a parliamentary
minister. That's
parliamentary 10th standard
his
failed
ultimate
minister.
position in life.
Parliament, and I'm sad to say it, but definitely there are people who have not passed 10th who sit in the house. So that's just I mean, having a few is good, because if you pick up people who are driven with that approach of you're going to a Grameen, or you're going to a place like a village, you definitely will have these panchayats and the leaders, and that's like a family heritage there, or maybe it's something to do with nepotism, right? So those people might not have been educated to the level that it's being needed, but when you take people at a majority case, right, you need to have basic education. When you know that you're going to formulate laws for the country, you're going to contribute to the constitution, there definitely needs to be an entrance exam there also, because when you can have an entrance exam at bleak levels of earning 25,000 or 20,000, or matter of fact any job, why not have something which is a criteria for you to get into something that handles laws of 1.4 billion population? Come on. That's a bare necessity that needs
just
to be
irrational.
Exactly. But you know how it works here, right? It's completely clueless. It's the hierarchy that it flows from the top to the bottom is like n number, and you can't even pinpoint or poke to a particular person who has done wrong, because the levels that it has to pass to reach out to the common man is just too much. And what we get is it's just pennies, whatever the benefits that we get.
Right. And I mean that is again an outcome of the mindset of the people. Why are they becoming doctors? Probably to get a good wife or a good husband.
That's what the purpose is. That the paid.
I mean, want to show off that degree as as additional weightage to get a nice girl. Right? That is why you want to become a doctor. And how many people could you have killed by practicing?
Actually, I mean, try to get rid of it there at least at that critical point of being. I mean, not have paid seats at that level. Come on, it's life and death matter, right? You can't have a faltu guy sitting in a doctor chair and writing. First of all, their handwritings are bad. I mean, I think that there's a purpose on why doctors write in a bad way. You know that, right? You know that, right?
I don't know.
I think the purpose behind that is so that people don't copy another person's prescription and use it for the same symptoms. It's a level of encoding and decoding between the pharma guy and the doctor.
Okay. The chemist and the
exactly. I think that's the reason these people have bad handwritings. So
it's like a Morse code between
exactly.
them.
If you how it works in India, right? If you say that you have cough and you took a Dolo 65, Dolo 650, you would definitely say, take Dolo 650, bro, it'll be fine. But that's bad, right? Because there is a certain approach towards treating something or treating any ailment, right? And you need a professional to do it, right? If everyone could get treated like that, then we shouldn't be seeing a pandemic like this, right? So that's that's a thought that I got it because it is something that I recently thought of, because my doctor literally gave me this example that I usually don't write prescriptions because it gets passed on. And he's a doctor who provides medicines at his clinic. It's only the, complicated diseases or something that needs external care, only those medicines he would write it out and give. But anything to do with small things like
He's
flu.
scared that it will be misused.
Exactly. Cold, flu, and, stomach upset kind of a scenario. These basic issues, he treats them there and the medicines are given there.
Right.
Because he did tell me that, I had given and it got circulated and I don't want that to happen. And that's why I changed to this module. And then that got me to rethinking that why doctors do write it like that. And that is where I think I got this point. It's so easy to get it, mishandled, or, it can
off
be taken
the counter, using a fake receipt.
And I think you would have heard about this, right? There was a strict ban for cough syrups in Chennai.
Yeah, because it's being used as alcohol.
Yeah, I mean, not alcohol. It is like a sedatory thing that puts you off to sleep, and it's the cheapest thing. So it was a big regulatory thing because all these auto drivers, obviously, it's a physically draining job, right? Driving a vehicle in the traffic and the sun, you definitely will start getting pains as you age, and to get sleep, and the people who could afford alcohol would definitely go with that, and people who couldn't, the cheapest thing that they could pick up was a Benadryl cough syrup, which costed $32. And that was downed every night, and that lead to complications in the future. And that's the reason they put a hold bar. You will not be giving cough syrups unless it's a prescribed thing by a doctor. So it's easy to it's easy, right? It's easy for people to find ways for their problems in India.
To game the system.
Exactly. It's very easy in India. It's very. I've not gone abroad, but I have heard about my friends who have come back from US or Australia. The systematic approach there, is it's what would I say? It's a one-on-one thing. The people are scared and the government watches them. I mean, like if you take traffic rules or, any kind of a thing, and the fines that are levied on them is hefty. I mean, but if you try to do the same thing here, the first thing that comes by people is like, are you trying to loot us? Boss, before thinking about looting, why don't you follow the rules?
Exactly.
Simple point, right?
I mean,
it's ridiculous. I mean, like, see, one thing, I mean, let's just not go off topic into, politically driven conversation, but just to put a point, even if you take, I mean, it's a huge shift that had happened from Congress to BJP, because Congress had held most of the central power for throughout, like what we know, right?
Yeah.
But, when makeshifts happened, somewhere, down now, I mean, after all the recent regulations that the government wanted to do and the level of obstruction it received by the own people, that is where I thought, it doesn't work like this. Because see, the Constitution clearly says that if the majority of the House is capable of passing a bill, it's done. But you know what happened in the recent bills that were passed. It was clearly a majority, but it was driven in the wrong way, and the oppositions made use of all the bullshit that they could to get rid of all the benefits of what it could have achieved. Because there are pessimistic people here who think that this thing will not work the right way, and there are optimistic people who think that it's a change and they're agreeing to it. But if the nation has to move forward, right, you have to make a change. You can't just sit and hope that I would pronounce India as a developed nation. It's never happened. The geographic books still, I mean, the general knowledge book still says that India is a developing nation and it's not a developed, right? How would it happen without change? It's a one-on-one thing, and it's too difficult to.
I mean, that's where first of all unification has to happen. Fundamentally, do we even regard people from the Northeast and those places as part of India? And I was watching this guy who's in Bangladesh, right? This popular Indian blogger, and he was mentioning that there are a lot of parts on the India-Bangladesh border that haven't been drawn properly. Like, part of India is in Bangladesh and part of Bangladesh is in India, and it's all so ambiguous that
Exactly.
the BSF is sort of confused about which part they need to guard. And there are places where they check everyone's passport because no one knows where it falls, because the lines are not drawn out properly. And somewhere along the line, right, the independence thing, like the India-Pakistan independence, first of all, that itself was such a haphazard thing that happened all of a sudden, and millions of people lost their lives. It just happened as a misunderstanding or whatever it was between Jinnah, Nehru, and none of those guys.
It's a blunder where repercussions are felt even today.
Yeah, clearly. And I mean, it is one of the bases on which the elections are fought, right? Like
exactly.
The Kashmir issue, they know how complicated that is, and they know that it won't be solved. I mean, it probably can, but then both parties will never agree. So you're always going to, be at war with Pakistan, and have that sort of Cold War, and then hate them for that, and then use that as leverage to get votes.
Exactly. The agenda or the motive here is to hold on to power.
Yeah.
It's nothing to, or it's never driven towards betterment of the nation. I mean, like that's how it has been.
Absolutely agreed.
Whatever it was, the change of government, I think whatever they tried to do, if you see it in an optimistic way, it was definitely something which needed corrections.
Yeah.
Of what was, the blunders that were, done during the independence, right? They definitely needed corrections. They had to draw boundaries. They had to draw boundary lines. They had to, have a certain, a form of, rigid thing to be done. Getting rid of the 370, getting the boundaries strict, having the NRC policy. And I'm just surprised that, educated fellow students who shared lunch with me have misinterpreted into a wrong notion, and they're completely going against it, and they don't want the current government to implement those things. But I want to understand, because it's a saying, right? Half knowledge is half baked knowledge is
even more dangerous than full knowledge, not knowing anything.
And the current trend in India, it's mostly the social media university. Whatever that has been said or whatever that is being posted there is no verification towards it, and you end up believing what is being shared, and you just go on to put up a status to what you feel, right?
I mean, no one reads the fine print.
Exactly, right. I mean, it's not that easy to fool people. It's not that easy. There is a constitution which goes back to, decades ago, which has been fine printed, and people have, lawyers who sit and educated people who sit and, formulate them. And all of a sudden people say that, this thing is going to take away something of us. Just not picking up, because I don't want to make it political. I'm not taking any point here, but I'm just saying on a higher
in general,
right? Having your views after getting to know what it is definitely agreeable, and it's always welcome, because it's good to have a conversation. It's good to have contradictory views, because you would definitely get another perspective of how that person thinks. Correct. And that's really important for the development of anything. Might it be your knowledge or the country, or it is a contributing factor in some source, right? But here, the half knowledge that is carried, it's very dangerous, because it's so easy to brainwash people here. You get paid to cast your vote. That's the level we are at, right? And you can't educate. And the funny fact is, I thought, yes, it's going to be good times for India. We have the highest youth population and stuff. But when I open Twitter, it is just bizarre. I see people in their 25s, 30s, 35, just driven politically.
There's so much hatred, bro. There's so much hatred.
See, you don't have to like or dislike a government. Point number one. You just have to debate over the laws they make. That's the thing, okay? But it's so become an agenda now that, you're a left government, you're a right government, you're religiously oppressing, you're doing this, you're doing that. You see that you have to see the points within, right? It's not so easy to put things forward where, people will say that, something bad is going to happen, right? There are people who are highly qualified who contribute to the laws, right? And yes, to have a contradictory point is definitely good. But when should you have that point? After getting to know people didn't
and it should be valid. Like you can't go blatantly against it and say that it's absolutely useless. Because you can't talk to idiots. Right? You got to be open-minded and have come at a meeting point to be able to accept what the other person is saying.
You just know the title of whatever that is being formed, and you find it
because it doesn't sound right.
You find it to be oppressing in some point. You just deny it. You're not going to read what the law says. You're not going to see its amendment, or you're not going to see its insight. But I just don't like it. I don't like the government who's getting it. I will go against it. I don't.
That's so shallow, bro.
See, the recent incident also. I mean, when you can block the strongest man's convoy,
right?
What is the safety of a common man here? That just explains, dude. I mean, the state that did it is just boasting around that this is the level
that they
of
succeeded
power
at that.
But yes, I mean, the government agreed to withdraw whatever you didn't want after a year's struggle. So he's coming to do something else. You have to welcome him. Come on, it's you can't carry hatred forward. Come on, whatever it might be,
there has to be a level of acceptance.
Correct. Whatever it might be the agenda. Okay, it might be politically driven, or it might be something to do with the elections or whatever. Okay, you can't stop the most powerful man. And he's supposed to
it reflects poorly on the country's image.
Exactly.
If you can't freely move around at the highest level.
Yeah, who would want to make a visit to India? I mean, any other global leader would think twice now, right? His own prime minister was not valued, and would the other person would come? No, that shows the level of lynching and
the madness.
Whatever you want to term it, right? It's ugly. I want to put it, just plain in terms. It's ugly. It's bad. The sad part is our level generation have different voices which are not validated. They just don't like it. They hate it, and I go against it. And that's the saddest thing. And that's the reason I have stayed away because I had interest towards it's you develop interest at a point, and I had developed interest probably 3 years ago, towards the politics, and it's good to have your point,
voice your opinion,
exactly, right? And you need to contribute in one way, and you need to feel responsible why you're casting your vote.
You need to have a take, because otherwise you're oblivious of what the current affairs are, and what would be good for the nation.
Correct. So that's when I started developing interest, and I had certain level of arguments with people who are of our generation, who shared the same syllabus that we went through, and they're educated. And to have that mask of not thinking big and just saying that I don't like it because I don't like it. It's just bizarre. And I stayed away from politics because of the level of negativity that is going around. Because if one person says this, they say that. The other person says
you get branded. Like if you're opposing the government, you're pro left, or pro Congress, or
correct. If there is a healthy conversation that can be taken forward, I'm always ready for it. Okay, but what I thought could be healthy
Yeah.
with the people that I discussed with was just
It's
very,
toxic.
very,
Yeah.
it's like I am just trying to understand, how can a person be so blatant? How can a person be so stubborn? How can a person be so arrogant?
Yeah.
Because they've just put a barrier and they blame us
Mm-hmm.
to be a pro whatever the government, and that's why
Yeah.
you're taking their side. I'm
Yeah.
trying to explain my point of view, Baba. You
Mm.
have to listen to it. But they are
Yeah.
like, no, it will not progress. What if these things won't be taken like that in the future? I mean, like,
Yeah.
how do you know that without implementing it?
Yeah.
It's just difficult.
Ultimately, to conserve energy, you have to be apolitical,
Yep.
because
That's
you can only speak so much sense, and then beyond a point, it's like you either lose a friend or you just stay away from the topic.
correct. That's the correct way to put it. Yep. Because it's just you lose your patience, you lose your you start getting frustrated because you are trying to say something and it's not taken the right way. That just shows
Mm.
the level of understanding that they would take from a law that has been implemented.
Right.
Because if you want to see, you have to be optimistic, right? When you want
Mm.
to, you want the nation to grow, you have to be optimistic.
Yeah, I mean,
You are
ultimately, we're all citizens of India. It's not the
correct,
party that we're
correct,
defined by,
exactly,
right? We
exactly
want
right.
improvement in the standard of living and the
Yep.
infrastructure.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? That's my whole
Yeah.
point. Because I don't like certain things that the current government do. I will voice it upon. It's nothing
Mm.
to do with who is doing it or who is not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, no
I
one's
would I would
perfect.
take correct. I would take what has been done. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not wondered about. I'm not worrying about who is doing it or
Mm.
who has not done it. I just
Yeah.
wanted to see I can contribute at this point because I am sound.
Yeah.
Probably 10 years ago, if you had asked about all of this, I was probably not sound towards these topics. And
Mm.
we had this
You
casualty as
want to
saying,
see where the tax money is going.
correct, you're earning also now. That is also a
Mm.
contribution. Yeah, you are definitely contributing to your taxes and you want to understand what's the nation progressing towards, right?
Right.
But it had definitely become very bizarre. And
Yeah.
I just stopped away and I just like stopped, following anything on social media, might it be
Right.
news and stuff, because people's thinking,
Yeah, I mean,
I thought,
another way to do that is sort of read the headline, read the content, read the article, and don't get into the comments or the opinions.
exactly, yeah, that's one way to do it.
That's when it gets dangerous, and there's no end to that. You can
Yep,
see how trivial and how
yeah,
easily carried away people are. That
exactly.
that there's unnecessary venom that is spewed out
Because
when
when
it's
you
uncalled for.
yeah, when you they say, right, when you get into a debate, you
Yeah,
have to go with a clear mind,
yeah,
because that's when it can be natural. But
right.
if you get into a debate with
Mm.
different
With
perspectives,
notions, yeah.
you would definitely lose, because at some point you would have
You're not
stated,
listening. You're not listening to the
yeah,
other person. Yeah.
correct. It's not about listening, but definitely you would lose because at some point you would have gone for it and definitely you would have contradicted that.
Yourself. Yes, yes.
So
Absolutely.
that's a loss. That's a loss, right?
Yeah.
So, just to get complete information, but as a citizen, we are trying to do the best. I mean, even this podcast or whatever that we're contributing is just
Mm.
to make sure that, to what two
You
guys.
have to be neutral,
Exactly,
at some
exactly.
point.
Yeah.
Just
When
take it
you,
at face value.
so
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Like currently, the main agenda is to come out of this pandemic. So let's
Right.
all hope and pray that, things get fine soon. And
Yeah, I mean, that's another scary thing. I mean, we'll come to that. I have a couple of points to make. But one more thing, just to add to this segment, right, before we move on, is this app called Koo that had come out, a sort of Indian version of Twitter.
mhm.
I think it sort of died down now, but about 1 year back, it was a rage, right? Around April, May of last year, maybe a little before that. And this guy, just put it out on Twitter. He was like, "Have you signed up for it? Have you joined and all that?" So I kind of jumped on the bandwagon. I created an account, and those days we were having regular, NGO events, right? We were distributing food and all that on a daily basis. So I was just sharing pics, right, of whatever drives were happening, right, whatever distribution was being done. And one of the days, all of a sudden, when I logged back in, when I checked the app, I had sent a lot of requests, and then I got like more than 1,000 followers. There's more than like 50 notifications and then 25-30 comments on one post. And then I knew for sure like something's off, because I didn't have like friends there, or I didn't post anything significant for there to be some important discussion. But then there was this one lady who had started a thread on one of these posts where we had distributed, rice bath or something like that, where she's like, we know why you're doing all these things. We can see from your name which caste you belong to. And this is clearly politically motivated. Hashtag rice bag conversion. Right. And she's gone to that angle, bro, and she's like, completely, she's trying to counter everyone else who's commented, because there's a lot of Hindutva and there's a lot of that crap. Like I had no clue what that was about. And then Jai Sri Ram, this, that, and everything started, and I'm like, dude, I just deactivated the account the next day.
Good. And yeah, I mean, that's again, right, it's a different topic that we would want to discuss in another session. That's a never-ending topic, because you can't control a lot of things, what's happening at this level, right? Because the agenda or the purpose of what's being done at the highest level is done somewhat different at this level with something else in mind, right? See, strengthening your culture is a good thing, because this is a heritage that is there probably even before like the Egyptian colony. I think they do say that Egyptian is the oldest, but there are evidences of what there are evidences of what Hindus were very, very.
I mean, that's just been excavated now. There's a lot of unknown things that we don't know about. And to my mind, I think India has a lot of hidden treasures that we are still not aware of. And somehow we don't have the archaeological abilities to go that far back. Talk about that Ram Setu bridge and all that. I sort of believe that, there definitely was a connection, because
definitely if you see certain things, right, certain monuments and certain things, it's you can't deny.
You can't fathom how
you can't deny a few things. You can't deny a few things. See, if you take the world's richest god, which is Tirumala, right? I mean, how can you even structure a temple on 7 hills? With what motive would you do that? There is definitely something that is being passed on. Right? There is something which is rich that is passed on. There is a saying that the god was upset with something and he just climbed up and he just sat there and he just went into a tapas mode, and that's when it formed into a temple, right? So there is you can't fool generations around. If it is reached at this point from maybe 1800s or 1700s, you can't keep fooling people around. There is some purpose and there is something that is there, which we might not know in the right way, but
it's been lost in translation over the years.
Exactly, it's lost in communication or whatever you want to put it forward, right? So there is some purpose, because you can't fool people or generations across so many years. It's highly impossible. It's highly impossible. So when there is something that is there, and recently also they wanted to, that there is a debate that is going on that please don't term Mahabharata or Ramayana as mythology, because mythology means it's fictional. It's something that someone thought of, and it's a mythology, right? But don't term it like that, because it is history. It has happened. It is passed on. It is there. It is history. Call it as history. Don't call it mythology. And again, people
there's a huge difference.
People are again, commenting, this is the Hindutva culture. You want to. There is nothing wrong. Come on, there's nothing wrong in strengthening your culture. As long as you as long as you don't oppress, right? There's nothing wrong. But I mean, like, I'm just telling in an open point, there need to be certain things that needs to be controlled, like these conversion and thing, right? Which are done in the wrong way. If it's straightforward from me without a bribery factor or without any benefit factor,
Mm.
That's a good thing, right? Because I
Yeah.
believe that in a better way means I will go ahead. But
Mm-hmm.
if it's driven in a different motive, that's a big no. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And if you are not guilty towards it, you will not go against the law.
Mm-hmm.
You would go against it when?
Mm.
If you're doing something under the bench,
Yeah.
right?
No,
It's
I
a
mean,
different,
like where to where. The point is where to
yeah,
where. An
correct.
NGO is distributing food
That's
because
what,
people
that's
are in
what,
the
no, I
slums
told
and they
no.
don't have things to eat.
Ah,
They can't feed themselves in the
why,
pandemic, right?
correct. The why I got this point is it
Yeah.
reached from that level. The
Right.
points that I took were, which were agendas of central government. But
Yeah.
to the level of how people are taking it is the
Yeah.
point that you mentioned,
Yeah.
right? Which is, you can't control few things.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to feel sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe this is how it is. Because I've been seeing from the last 2 3 years, it's just impossible to change our people. It's just
Yeah.
given up because
And it's the educated population that is the biggest
they're
problem.
contributing. Yep, yep,
Because the
yep.
people
I
who
thought
don't have knowledge,
uh,
they keep quiet about it because
yeah,
they're not aware, right?
until the last 3 4 years, I had thought about my forefathers or my higher generations to have picked sides because of
Mm.
certain different views of what they had to go through the early 70s 80s and stuff,
Yeah.
whatever that they have seen in a
Mm.
very pure way, because I would call that the more purer way, because
Right.
the level of control of data being manipulated was very less back then, because
Yeah.
the only source of communication, it might have been manipulated at source level. Okay,
Right.
but
Right.
it's not manipulated in the intermediary forms because the the
The
transport,
channels,
the
the
channels were
channels
very
didn't
minimal.
have
Correct.
that
Very
cloud.
minimal, right? We just
Yeah.
had back then is just TVs and radios, right?
Right.
But now the level of manipulation, the level of interpretation, and whatever you want to put
Yeah.
it, it's very dangerous. But back then,
Right.
whatever they had seen, they had picked sides.
Yeah.
Okay, so whatever they had seen and whatever they had to go through, and they were very strict about picking sides, our forefathers
Mm.
or whatever. If they had a vision towards one party, they just went with that party blindly. They didn't have to look left or right. Okay.
Yeah.
But now it's getting even more dangerous. That's the
Right.
sad part. Because educated people are doing it worse than what our forefathers did.
Yeah.
They're blindfolded. They're not seeing behind that or front of it, however we want to put it, right?
Right.
It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And that is when I came to a point that, we didn't have to blame our forefathers for sticking to one party or pointing it or voting one party. It's just that how it is here, with whatever the scenarios that we are seeing today. It's
Yeah.
just it's disheartening. That's all. I would not want to put it anything else. It's
Yeah.
just sad and disheartening to see such rich culture, such population. What we can do to transfer this,
Right.
the entire
I
what we
mean,
can.
just to lighten the mood, right? Something
Mm-hmm.
that Russell Peters said, in one of
Uh-huh.
his crowd work episodes, that comedian.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, the difference between India and other countries, if you have to compare,
Mm-hmm.
is that other countries fight among their peers, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
US is fighting Russia, and they're fighting China to get better, and that is sort of their parameter. But in India, the people fight amongst themselves.
Yeah.
That is like, we are probably, if we come together, we can dominate the world. There's no question
Oh,
about that.
there's
But we
no
are
denying that.
fighting like within the caste, like within whatever other segregation we can find, within religion and so many
That's
other
the
bases,
that's the sad
that
part. No,
we're
that's the
screwing
sad part.
ourselves over.
Yeah.
Like, we are India as a whole, like we still don't get
There's
that fact.
so many things to take, but we opt to take the negatives. So that's the sad thing.
Yeah.
We can take a lot of positives, from our rich history, but
Yeah.
we opt to take, see, something like, if you want to take from the current trend, see how yoga is witnessed in India and how yoga is witnessed by the world,
True.
right?
True. Yeah.
How this Ayurvedic medicine is witnessed by the world. And see, it was all an oppressing factor by the Western world. They tried to oppress things because we were the largely populated country. You
Yeah.
want to popularize something like a gym or something. You hit it to a place where there are more people.
Yeah.
That's clear cut, okay. And today we see fancy gyms, spa, and stuff. And you go to the West, I see people doing Surya Namaskar, simple, keeping it simple.
Yeah, yeah. That's holistic training, that is
Correct.
your mind and body, and there is a scientific approach to it. It's not just the
Exactly.
show, it's not just, the biceps and, the
Yeah,
six pack. There is a lot more to it.
exactly. The science behind it
Yeah.
is
And
something
that
that
sense
no
is
one
what people
knows.
lack.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So what India is doing now, it's a transfer of influence. You
Yeah.
want to put it that way. We are taking something of theirs and thinking it's fancy. And they are taking something of ours. I don't know if they're taking it like something fancy or it's like they're really, enjoying or getting rejuvenated by it.
Right.
Or maybe they also want some change. But you're understanding, right? What I'm
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
put.
yeah, yeah.
So,
No,
and
I'm reminded of something Charles Barkley said, right? He's one of the commentators on Inside the NBA, the show that sort of they analyze the NBA games after it's done. And he's like, these days for fitness, a lot of players, they do yoga, right? Yoga is nothing but stretching, but they just want to charge us more money, you know? So he's actually a funny guy, but
exactly.
that is how important it is. Like people, the professional sportsmen are doing yoga for fitness because they know that it helps them stretch and it helps them prolong their careers, right? It's not just doing weights and whatever other workouts are there. It's important to ensure that your body is flexible all around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what, no, the what is, I mean, that's what it's a change that we're taking it, which is unnecessary, probably. So
Right.
what we have, if taken in the right way, I think we have enough to learn from what we have from our ancestors, right? So
Yeah.
that's more than a see small things like this, right? Take yoga and stuff, right? How it's being treated here and how it's been, and people making mockery about your prime minister just because he's doing yoga and he's trying to promote it. Come on, he's got an influence to promote it, and people try to make fun of it. That just shows the
Yeah.
level of what people can think, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, to be honest, sometimes I think about, countries like Russia and China, right? Why are they so far ahead? Because the opposing voices are neutralized, right? They're
Yeah,
cancelled out.
see,
And you
that's the
can't
thing,
talk shit.
right?
Apparently,
Yeah,
Putin
they
has banned cartoons.
exactly
Whatever is
correct.
anti right wing or going against the government is absolutely not tolerated, because that's when the voices get
Popped
triggered
out.
and people, yeah, start talking shit. I mean, see, Kunal Kamra, for that matter, right? I mean, I agree, it's funny, but then every day trolling the BJP, bro, like, there's a limit.
I mean, correct.
There's a
See,
limit,
there's
right?
there's a
And
there's a point, and even that. See, you have to pick certain things when you're putting forward. I mean, I'm talking about Veer Das when he
yeah,
went on to speak about the two Indias that I come from or whatever.
right.
See, I can think, okay, fine, I will think with an open mind and I will think about a few things, but that just is pulling your own nation down. As you told, when nations are fighting against each other, here people are portraying our India in a bad way and fighting against each
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
It's the war is within us.
You're
There's no
misusing your voice.
exactly. See, you can put out a few things that is really good. I mean, like
Yeah,
if it
but
is debatable or
it's
something,
not
but
constructive.
exactly, you can't mess up your culture by downing it. Like you can't put it down and make a joke out of it. You can't
Yeah,
do that.
yeah,
That there is a fine line where
yeah.
you know that okay, I have to stop here. This is
And if the government does something about it, it's kind of like a damned if you do, damned if you don't approach, because if the government will be trolled, right? saying that the government can't take a joke.
Exactly.
If the government doesn't do anything about it, then they're going to get a better, a bigger platform.
Too many voices,
all,
right?
all the more motivation.
Correct. Too many voices. Too many voices. Yeah. So that's what, like, coming to this point also, how the influence and the strategies the West has done to, just, put forward their products or whatever. I was just probably 2-3 years ago when I had a chance to meet, there was this, mind instructor who sat in Infosys. Okay, she used to help people with, issues. I mean, she used to have this therapy kind of a thing. Okay, and her name was Chaya. Okay, and she was old. I mean, like she was in her 50s, I think. So yeah, I mean, like I was just had a casual discussion with her, and she had this valid point about treadmills and these indoor gyms. She just opened up the mind. It was so clear. Even I had not thought about it. Why all these things come from the West to the here?
East,
how did we accept it? Why did we have to accept it?
Right.
Here, the West needed it because they have snow for 6 months and they do need something which is indoor to keep themselves active. And that is where treadmills and gyms started to take shape.
Right.
But when you have 12 months of, or probably if not 12, take out 1 month.
Yeah, I mean, all months of the year, like throughout the year, we can always go out.
Yeah,
like the weather is not that bad in India, in any part of India for that matter, apart from maybe up north. We can't go outside.
Let's take away 6 weeks, just 6 weeks, keeping the rains
like
and
peak winter and
the peak winter and the rains, right? You probably have the whole year to step out and run and not use a treadmill.
Yeah.
And how it is being changed. See, you being a celebrity and use treadmill, I understand. You want to avoid the public and stuff. But being a common man, you go from here to gym on a scooter and run on a treadmill for 30 minutes.
Yeah, because it's cool. You want to, upload a post on Insta saying you hit the gym.
Purpose, right? Your actual purpose is screwed. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I mean, that, subconsciously, there's so many things that we do just adopting the West.
Yeah.
Right. For that matter, even wearing jeans and all that's something that cowboys used to wear. And now that's, the trademark casual wear, right?
That's
like all around the world, everyone wears. Yeah. Like literally everyone wears that when you don't know where it came from.
Exactly.
Similarly, you should promote khadi and all that. Like those that should be replaced. Like that should be formals for us.
That is clearly made keeping the weather also, right? Because khadi is suitable for our skin. See, we are all coming back to organic things in a branded way now. But those were household items 20 years ago.
Exactly.
Right. So it's so I mean, like, how easily you can manipulate people or how easily you can transition people for something that you were already a master with. It's something that's happening around the world.
Because the desire now is to wear branded stuff, that if you wear khadi and go about, you're not mod, right? Because you're not wearing the latest trends. People are going to be like, dude, you don't have money to get a Supreme or a Puma.
That's whatever. What. If you cut it front now, if you see Birkenstock, which is a German brand who makes slippers, they have made sandals in a shape of like it's Indo-Western. Okay.
Right.
It's a similar shape that we have seen all our life, the chappals. Okay. And that's the trend. And even I bought one. Just
right.
And
the Paracon design.
Correct. So it is something that is already there, and the West is making use of it in a branded way, and people are just falling bait for it. But I understand that the technology behind it is good. When I actually read about it and stuff, the materials that they've used that come into picture. But that is something that we could have done. It didn't have to come from Germany, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Right.
It's all being fed back to us, like things which are getting exported from here
exactly.
are we're
Like
getting it, we're importing it back. Yeah.
We just got independent by a few things, but not by all.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Yeah.
it that was how it used to work back in British rule, right? They used to take our cotton and feed us back our clothes.
Yeah, I mean, that's how the whole thing was set up, right? East India
Correct.
Company, it was like
Exactly.
they made India a business.
Exactly.
And, literally ruled over us when we didn't even realize we were, clueless, and they sold these fake dreams to every king and then got them off their thrones, made them puppet rulers. And, the country was sold out.
Exactly. And that is one thing, again, it's debated, right? Why is, the history that we know of not being shown in our textbooks? Why are we praising the British rule? Not praising exactly, but why are we getting to know those things? Why are we getting to know invasions, someone like Mughals and stuff? But why are we not getting to know more about Kittur Rani Channamma?
Yeah.
Kuvempu,
Kempegowda.
Why? That just shows the level of filtration that was done back then when they were, getting textbooks and
when they were framing the content. That goes back to the initial discussion.
Correct, right? That is the pattern. But if you think of those things being sound with the current environment, like you can start thinking of all those things and start iterating over all those things. Why was this taught to us and why not this?
Yeah.
And that's the reason they want to, introduce Ramayana and Mahabharata as history and not mythology, right? Because
but that again will be debated. Why Ramayana? Why not Quran?
Correct.
Why not the Bible?
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
But that's what when you have so much of secularism, you have to go through these things.
Yeah.
It's a boon and a ban. The word secular.
Correct. That's why I think something like the Uniform Civil Code, that is mandatory for a country like India, because that is the only solution to this.
That's what we saw in the recent things also. No, they tried to uniform things, but people are not accepting.
Yeah.
Right. See,
because you're always scared of the backlash. You're always scared of the backlash in this country, whatever is done.
If we want to take out examples, again, it'll be politically driven. So we'll have another session for that, but let's not ruin, this topic with that. So what I'm saying is, it's very difficult to convince 1.4 billion. That's clearly understood. Because it's so, I was so aback and I was so disappointed when they had to revoke certain laws despite getting majority.
Right.
I understand that, people are going against strikes and stuff, but did a common man, afford to go on a strike for 9 months? Could he do it? No.
Yeah.
That's
it was motivated.
It was funded, not motivated. It was
sure.
funded. It was an agenda. It was a thing. No farmer would leave his lands for 9 months and come stand there.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
And they are boasting about the success and stuff, and they want to, block the prime minister and stuff. And it's just really ridiculous. And when I try to read,
we shouldn't forget that we are in the middle of a pandemic still, right? People are completely disregarding wearing a mask and curfew. I remember in the initial days of the protest, right? People are like, walking around saying COVID kuch nahi hai, humko nahi hoga. And there was a breakout there. Exactly. There was a breakout, thousands of guys got it.
That was the thing, right?
During the Delta variant.
When you have to be policed to your own safety. Yeah. That's the level we are at.
And you still don't learn.
Yeah. See, you have to give it some time to understand what the virus is. Taking a precaution is not like making you a dumb or a weak person or something, right?
Yeah.
It's something that is clueless or unknown. It can do anything to you. Yes, you might be immune, but that doesn't mean that until it's clinically proven, I would go around thinking that I'm a Superman and will walk without a mask.
like what are you trying to prove? There are people dying of this.
Exactly, right? You can't. But again, see, it just shows what people are. I understand people are tired, and even I myself, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I have understood how to live with it, to be honest. If I'm walking alone on the road, I don't think I need a mask.
Yeah.
It's obvious. I wear it only if I'm going into a place it's jam packed by 3 or 4 people.
Right.
Right.
Or at least do it for others' safety.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's my safety also.
Yeah.
If I'm walking alone on a road with no one in a circular radius of 6 feet around me, it's not required. That's what it is said, right? You need to maintain distancing of 6 feet.
Yeah.
And you need to wear a mask. But
yeah.
if I'm walking on a road or if I'm cycling, if I'm moving at that pace, I don't think I need it. Right.
Yeah.
But if I'm getting into a crowded place, it's common sense, right? It's common sense.
Yeah.
But it's difficult to attain. Common sense is the most difficult thing to attain.
Absolutely, that's uncommon and rare.
Yeah.
Because I've been caught on multiple occasions because while riding alone, and the mask was lowered. I'm like, dude, what? How is this making sense? Like, why are you fining me for this?
Thank God, like I was not caught by anyone like that. I would have blasted. I would have spoken science there.
Yeah.
Okay, you can allow rallies of what happened last week, right? People went on rallies despite the curfew, these opposition parties.
Right.
It's so egoistic, right? It's so egoistic because the ruling government is doing something to curb the pandemic. There are a lot of things involved. Okay, people are making memes saying that curfew means what, it will go off or something like that. But the agenda behind a weekend curfew is to break the chain so that people don't travel from here on the weekends to their home places or wherever.
Yeah.
That's the first barrier. You don't want it to be an outbreak in small towns also.
Yeah.
That's the first line, And the second line is, obviously, if you have a day job, and majority of them do have, Saturday, Sunday is the time you go have a drink with your friends. Yeah. And they don't want that to happen.
Right.
That's the agenda. See, if you think in that point, see, people who are, who clear the civil services are heading this team with the government and they are declaring things.
Yeah, there is a rationale behind it.
Correct, right. People who use a phone just make memes out of it and people fall for it. See, you understand a meme, you laugh at it and you understand it that it's a meme.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Don't take that in the literal sense.
People take it in a literal sense, start making fun of the government. Okay. If it is said that, okay, I will put a curfew, you need to obey the ruling government. But the opposition government says, we had planned this 1 month ago, so I will gather 20,000 people and walk around.
Right.
Where is sense here?
You're just being a sore loser, just because you're not in power, you want to mess up whatever other precautions have been set.
Then you come back as an opposing government and pinpoint the government for so many deaths. How fair is it?
Yeah.
That's a cluster. You're gathering 20,000 people. That's a cluster. You don't know who's coming from where, who's going where after that. And if you have that ego to not,
you're just putting additional pressure on the system, which is already stressed.
It's pure ego here, and people from all parts of India want to pull one man who's trying to get change. Yes, it might not be happening in a clean way. That will never work because when you say a party, there's a lot of logistics that go behind it. It might be the party members, the party head, the money that flows in for the, elections they hold.
Everything costs money, right?
Yeah, it's a logistic that is there. See, few things you can't ignore or you can't even get rid of. That's how the system works. Okay, because money is everything at the end of the day. When you think, but there is one man who's trying to get things, and you have to encourage him. Yes, there might be few things that you might deny, but here there is no encouragement. There is no discouragement. There is pure hatred, which is which is bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
That right? You take a thing, but you have made it so clear in your mind that this is, I'm not gonna like it. I've never liked it. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna support anything that this government says.
I mean, this is science we're talking about. We're not even talking about a party's opinion or
Yeah,
a certain thing that has been proposed like within the country. Like it's not a general rule. It is something that is pervasive. Like the whole world is fighting this pandemic, and now there is a wave. Like there is a surge in infections. So it is important for you not to worsen it, like because then it won't even succumb.
correct.
It's going to take longer, and then someone within your family can die, or you can die yourself.
Exactly,
And why do you
exactly.
want to die because of stupidity? Like die because of a god-given reason,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And that's so sad. I mean, within the family itself, we've had a death, right? Within where there was like a graduation ceremony, and then my cousin's a distant relative of ours, basically, she had a 10th standard graduation, and
Okay.
then they had that virtually, and then they met, like all the friends met at a party, and then there was an infection which spread, and everyone got it. All the girls got it.
Shit.
And obviously when you're young, you don't have that many side effects. And then they went home and they passed it to everyone, and then like their grandmother passed away, like she died. And that happened in a span of like 3-4 days. And just shocking. And this is the reality now. COVID,
Correct.
that's the power it has,
Yeah.
and you don't know where it comes from. And another connected point I wanted to make is now the surge in UK, right? Because all the measures are relaxed, and that every club has a certain number of cases. And Aubameyang had gone to play for Gabon in the AFCON,
Okay.
and there he had tested positive, and now he's got a side effect because
Oh.
of that. He's got like heart lesions,
Oh.
and he's like banned for the next he's banned for the rest of AFCON, and then they'll do a reassessment after that. So like
Damn.
his career is kind of hampered,
And yeah. Yeah, it's
so
the same.
yeah,
It's a question mark, right? What this virus is and stuff.
yeah.
We have no idea. And
And it has
very
long-term
simple.
repercussions. Like it has
Definitely.
myocarditis. It affects your lifestyle. It affects your well-being, and you'll
Yeah.
never be 100% again.
No. See, again, the level of effect it has on your body is unknown, right? See,
Yeah,
they are
yeah,
saying that your heart might be inflamed and stuff, but it's also a muscle, right? So it will regain its originality
right, right.
provided
But when
you
you
take
talk
care of
about
it.
peak performance, when you talk
Correct.
about
Yeah,
sportsmen, they
that
need to be at full
yes,
fitness to be able to play. Otherwise,
exactly.
you
And
can end up like Ericsson.
that's probably one of the reasons the drama that's been happening at Australian Open with Novak being deported.
Djokovic, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so Djokovic is deported because he denied to take the virus because
Right.
vaccine.
Yeah.
Because he's clear that he knows that it's going to have some side effect on his performance, and he doesn't want to
Yeah.
get rid of his peak stage by
Mm-hmm.
he's promised that he would be safe, but the court denied his visa and he's deported
Yeah.
now. Agreed, because this is something that it's debatable, right?
It's debatable. It's highly
Yeah,
debatable.
because
I don't know. You can have different
it
opposing views
yeah,
on it.
correct.
And the
Each
world
outweighs
number
each
one,
other.
right? The world
Mm,
number one. Not. I think he won it last year as well. He can't defend his title now. Like again,
correct.
there's a court case on him, so they don't know whether it's a hearing or whether he's playing the first match. He's been drawn to play the first match.
No,
So
no, no. He's
yeah,
left. He's left. I think
yeah,
today.
but he's still in the draw. Like
Yeah, he's deported. He's deported.
yeah,
They clearly denied and they have told him to leave Australia. So
yeah.
they would redraw, but
I mean,
again,
respect to them for that. Like they
yeah, I
managed to
mean, good
hold their
because
stance.
they have taken common man into picture
Yeah, I
because
mean, health is greater than sport,
priority.
right?
Exactly.
Public
That
health.
is
Yeah,
one thing, and common man comes into a point. What if a common man wanted to enter the country and he had put something?
right,
It
right.
won't have
All
even
that is
come to this
questionable
point.
now.
Correct.
Yeah,
No, it wouldn't have even come to that point. Just
yeah,
because it was a superstar, he was making global headlines.
yeah.
But I don't think a common man would even have an opportunity to even say a word. He would
Right.
definitely be deported immediately, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
At least could fight for a while.
Mm.
But good that they took priority, that everything is common to everyone. Like if they set a standard rule or a law, it is going to
Yeah.
be applicable to everyone. It doesn't matter who you are, like,
Right.
be whoever you are. But it is, if you have to come to us, you have to follow these things. So they didn't
Yeah.
differentiate that, and that's something that is commendable, right?
Yeah.
So
For
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
thank
I mean, that's that just shows these countries, like something tells me that if that tournament was in India,
yeah,
the outage would have been so much that Djokovic would have played.
played
Like people
easily.
people would
Exactly,
have
exactly.
gone and stoned the Parliament building or something like that.
Yeah, that's
And that's a difference in reaction. And there was no outburst. Like I've heard a few protests by the Djokovic fans and all that outside the embassy,
mhm.
but there's been no violence as such because of this decision. Right?
Yeah,
And Djokovic obviously has got numerous fans all over the world. He's one of the
exactly.
greatest
Yeah,
players. He's on track to be the greatest ever. So yeah, I mean, quite quite an eventful few days it's been.
yeah, dramatic.
Yeah. Uh, Good. So on that note, we'll sort of move into the next question, which we'll probably end with. So now that it's been a good 6-7 years into your career,
Mhm.
if you look back upon, right, if you look back from the way from where you started, after engineering and global, and then the Infi, the training period that you had there, getting into Infi first of all,
Right.
then your opening stint with Infi for a good 3-4 years, and then joining Open Text.
Mhm.
So if you think back to starting engineering and then to where you are now, how would you assess that? How would you assess where you stand in your career?
Yeah, I mean, uh, see, first and foremost, I have to be grateful
Mhm.
to whatever that is made way. It might be that I have fought for it, but there was definitely a path that was in front of me planned. If you want to believe in God, it's God. If you want to say
Right.
it's fate, it's fate. If you want to say it's destiny.
Yeah.
Whatever that was there, whoever is going to listen to it, whatever you want to believe in. So I have to be grateful because
Yeah.
it's not easy to get a job immediately after you graduate.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I was blessed to just have small
Yeah.
small number of holidays
Because you're
because
competing with the country as a whole, all
correct.
India,
So yeah,
millions of graduates.
exactly, right. So I was blessed to have the least number of holidays between my completion of UG and into my work tenure. So it was a
Yeah.
bleak 2 month period. I think it's like June, July, August. Yeah, 3 months. So that was the only
Mhm.
off, and then getting into Infi, and that was super fun, and it's probably the most cherished times of my life.
Yeah.
The 4 months that I had to go through training, because
Mhm.
I would put it in a way that it's college life where you're getting paid. So you can
Right.
just imagine. So you have the
Same
financial freedom.
environment.
Yes,
Yeah.
you have that financial freedom. You have a room for yourself. You're not away, you're away from home. You have that
Yeah.
independent life that you want to live with money that you have earned. So
Yeah.
that was something that you can cherish forever. That's the
Yeah. Yeah.
starting point. That's the stepping stone of whatever I am today. So that was really memorable. And the most I would pick is the diverse nature of India is what I saw there, because I
Mhm.
saw
The cultural exchange.
trainees from across India who shared my classroom. I
Right.
mean, it was overly populated by the Delhi people because I
Mhm.
think it happens in batches. And I think that university and our VT university had that link up during that
Right.
throughout. And maybe that is the thing. But despite that, I could, meet many, many people and many, many cultures. and
Yeah.
to understand how they think and to exchange how I put forward my thought is really
Mm-hmm.
amazing. The 4 months was really good, and it's something that I would take with me till my last breath, because
Right.
they were golden moments and it will never happen again. That's
Yeah.
the beauty of
Yeah. I
it.
mean, the first job is always special, whatever it
Yeah,
is.
that's special, but I'm just talking about the 4 month training,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that holds a special place, right?
Yeah.
Because as I told you, you still feel like you're a student because of the training period, and you're getting paid. So
Yeah.
that's
And
such a
and correct me if I'm wrong, but even the training is like a qualification period. You have like tests
exactly
and all that, and you can get filtered
exactly
out.
exactly. So
Yeah. So
that's why I termed it as
that's like
college.
probation. Yeah.
Correct. I termed it as college because you have to overcome or pass a series of exams
Mm-hmm.
after each modules that you have been put into.
Mm.
So there are two phases, or there were two phases. I don't know what's the current curriculum that's being followed, but back
Mm.
in time there were two phases, which was generic initially, and the
Mm.
generic is a streamlined thing that anyone who's entering will have to go through that. So there's
Mm-hmm.
no change in that. Okay, so that's
Right.
the 3 module period, and that usually takes place for 45 to 55 days roughly.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have something called stream. And how
Mm.
stream happens is it's something randomly generated. You
Right.
you you as a trainee don't have the opportunity to pick what you want.
Right.
So that's been dynamic as an engineer.
It's assigned to you.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
been dynamic. You show a dynamism there. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
you've been offered, you try to cope up with that and you make it a career. So that's again
Right.
something that's been given in a random way. And I was put into stream, and that again went on for another probably uh, another 60 days. So
Mm-hmm.
not 60, 45, 45 would be 90 days. So that's 3 months. Yeah, 60 days. Yeah. Yeah. Roughly around 4 months to 4 months plus 2 weeks, I guess, is what my training period was. And to live in that huge campus of Infosys,
Yeah. Yeah.
and to what the city is, it's such a beautiful city,
Right.
and it's so sane. It's so sane. I would call
Yeah.
Bangalore insane, and that is so
Yeah.
sane. People
Yeah.
are so composed. People are so slow, and it would
Yeah.
be the ideal place to have a retirement life. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I think is the time to hustle and fight for your dreams and stuff. But
Right.
probably there's a point where you want to just slow down into your deathbed.
Right. Right. I mean, I completely agree because I
Yeah,
was there for a
correct,
while
correct. We had met
during
there,
that
right?
audit.
Correct,
And yeah,
correct,
I mean, it was so peaceful. We
correct.
we would we would have that particular adda where we would go for breakfast, and
Exactly.
the idli vada and all that is still waters my mouth. I just long for that food because it's so pure, and the air is so fresh in Mysore because there's hardly any pollution around. But it's still like a decently developed city. You have your hangouts, your pubs, and all of that. It's kind of
Exactly.
comparable to Bangalore
Yeah, it it
in that
it,
sense.
it shouldn't completely. It should keep its essence, because
Yeah,
if it tends to migrate, then it loses its essence with
yeah,
overpopulation and stuff. So whatever it has, it should stick to it and not probably overdo stuff, because
mhm,
it shouldn't lose its naturality, because Mysore is a special place, right? And
right.
it's a home away from home for me,
Yeah,
definitely, because it's the first time I've been away from home, and that was the place that I was put into. And I've
mhm,
probably spent 4 years, which is not a joke.
yeah,
So I've lived in that place, and it's always going to be memorable. And the training, and then the placement which happened in Mysore itself, and that was again the random thing that works out. So what happens
mhm,
is during stream you get placed, right? So you
right,
have it. I think in the beginning itself you have the option to select three locations, three preference of locations.
right.
So you give your locations there, and mine was first was Bangalore, second was Mysore, and third was Hyderabad. I just kept
So
it
that's like an order of preference, or it's just like
order of preference that I chose.
right, right, right.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm,
at the end of finishing your two modules, as in
mm-hmm,
two modules or two stream, two generic and the stream patterns,
right,
you would again randomly be assigned.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you're guaranteed your preferences.
It's just fate. Yeah.
Correct, right? I was given Hyderabad actually. I was given my least preference. Okay.
Okay.
And there is something called a 24-hour window where a swap portal is open.
Okay.
Okay. So you put in your preference, and another person who's put the reverse preference of what you have.
You'll get exchange.
You get exchange,
You
and
swap.
that is a FCFS, first come first serve basis.
Right.
So whoever files in, it's based on time. So again, that is the gift that I got, that I had to stay in Mysore. Like someone wanted to go to Hyderabad, and that guy also filed in his swapping, and then it so happened it's all automated. There's nothing. There's no manual intervention that happens there, so I can't control things there. So it's a gift that I got, that I had to stay back in Mysore, and 4 years was good, really good, because it's your first company and you tend to get to learn a lot. You're away from home. You try to manage a lot of things, and you start seeing life, what actually life is, right? Because until then, it was all about college, being goofing around, just your only motive would be to pass your exams, honestly, right? So your main motive would be that, right? Motive. But here it's different. You start seeing a lot of things.
You have to deal with people. It's not just books.
Correct. It's people. You're living away from home. You're living in a rented place, and you're supposed to manage your finance.
A lot of responsibility.
You got to eat good food because you're not cooking anymore. You're not at home. You don't have your mother to cook your food.
Yeah.
And all these things were an experience.
Right.
It's something that you have to experience at some point in your time, in your life, so that you value things that are already there in your life.
Yeah.
Okay. See, you think it's so easy to take your current comfort
for granted.
Yeah. You just neglect it. Okay. But when you have been put into a tough situation, that is when you will be like, God, man, shit.
Yeah.
Why did I mess up, and why am I seeing this bad case? That is, you will be like, it was so good then. So I'm not saying that Mysore was bad. I'm just saying,
there's a price you pay for independence.
Correct, right? The small worry was the food, obviously, right? You continuously have been eating outside for 4 years. There's like probably countable times that we have cooked, because we didn't get that, we didn't have that time to do so. Okay, so you definitely, but thankfully that Mysore and Bangalore are so easily connected and it's close by. I didn't get homesick because every weekend I was back.
You could commute,
Yeah, I was back at home every weekend, and I didn't have that homesick feeling. But fast forward, after meeting people, getting into a project, working in my first project, and contributing and having.
Like, did you spend some time on the bench, like before the first role, or?
No. That's what. No, very lucky to have short spans of free time. That's actually lucky. Because people want to be free, but that's not good. When you
it's not good, exactly.
If you take your career in point, it's easy to be free, but when you take, there's so much time that is wasted, right?
Yeah.
It was minimal. After my training got over, again, you would, based on my preference, it was Mysore, right? You would have to await, and you would get mails or calls from the managers that have project vacancies in Mysore. Okay, so it was one such evening that I had actually taken leave. I was on bench for probably 2 weeks. So in that one period, I was on leave because one of my friend's brother's wedding was here, and he had come down from US. So I had come here, and I was in the mandap, and I got a call. It was from an unknown number, and I had to take the call. So that was the decision that I had.
Luckily, you took it.
Yeah, no, even after taking it, I didn't deny saying that, I'm on leave, and can you call me at another time? Because it's easy to say it.
Yeah, I mean, and you're well within your rights to say that, because you're on leave. But then the importance of that, like
that, the thought process that you're in so aligned that okay, you can't be free for a long time. You need something that to pick up, and this is an opportunity that has come. Let me just find my way. It's all about finding that small gaps of time where you can manage stuff, right? So just put him on mute. I told him like, just give me a moment. Let me get into a less sounds place where I can. I just put him on mute and I just rushed out of the hall and I took that interview on road. I was on a road and I had to take that because I couldn't find a way. Inside the mandap, obviously it's going to be noisy and stuff.
It's right? that hunger. It's that hunger to get placed. Yeah,
exactly. So I had to. The most less sound place I could get was the road because the mandap was like noisy as like it was damn noisy. There were a lot of people inside.
And these are all pre-COVID days, so there's peak traffic in Bangalore. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, pre-COVID days where you have like 500, 600 people coming for an engagement, and the traffic is like now you are allowed only 200, 300, but back then for just engagement you would see 500, 600 people coming
easily.
Right. So I somehow managed, and I was able to convince him that I'm capable for the role that he's offering. So they rolled me into the project the immediate next week. I was there for a long weekend. I think Thursday, Friday, I'd taken off. So immediately on Monday, they told me to report. So I go there and my process happened. And fast forward, I work in multiple projects there. And appreciations were happening, but I had this dream of going abroad, just to experience it at a higher level. Just to take the game another way, because that I had that hope because my client had two bases. One was the US and the other one was Ireland. I thought the head folks and the senior people would always align towards US, and people who have started off in the mid and the juniors would be preferred to if given a chance would be at least considered for Ireland. But unfortunate that
onshore, right?
Correct, onsite, yeah, onsite. So sorry about that. Yeah, unfortunate that Trump happened, and there were a lot of US regulations in regard, and people had restrictions towards US, and the senior people started opting for Ireland, and we were neglected. So I mean, we weren't even considered. So then there had to be some thing that is keeping me on my toes, right? You can't sit or continue in a job if you're in a deadlock position.
And moreover, once you're too comfortable, like when things are easy and they're getting repetitive, then it's time to move on.
Exactly.
Because otherwise you're wasting time.
It's the level of saturation that I reached at all levels. If you take finance, if you take learning, if you take work, and even my travel, everything like just dead point. And I had to take a call, and it was a surprise event to my manager when I told him that I cleared an interview, and he was quite shocked. And I had to make a move. Honestly, I just gave one interview. It's usually not that easy after 3.5 years or 4 years to give one interview and clear that interview and get into a company.
Exactly.
I mean, like
especially at higher roles.
You have to, you start with a practice game by giving interviews 2-3 times, and then you pick it up with the bigger companies, right? So that's how it works. But I was fortunate enough that I had a friend at Open Text, and he referred me, and things went smooth. The first round, I still remember, I stuttered a bit, and I was, not that good with the basics, but they were kind enough because I was more interactive with the two girls actually interviewed me, and I don't know if I have to say that I was, lucky there. One interviewer was an ex-Infosys. So
that always helps. That connection and that rapport.
Yeah, exactly.
It helps.
I didn't keep quiet. One thing in interview is like you have to talk. You don't talk nonsense, but you have to talk, right? At least you have to prove a point that you're going to get the job. So that is what I did, and was pushed to the second round, and second round was with my current manager, whom under I'm working. So
Mm.
she took my second round, and they were convinced, and they gave me what I desired for. And
Right.
here I am. Fast forward like 3 years in open text almost now. So it's like
Yeah.
I can't believe that 3 years, 7 months to be precise, that I had spent in Infosys felt like a long time. But
Mm-hmm.
3 years at a open text doesn't feel that long because 2 years you are at home.
Yeah.
Right? So, uh,
Yeah.
uh, but here it was more of a professional growth. I would not
Mm-hmm.
take it away. Open text gave me chances of to work in a project from scratch. That's
Right.
probably one of the rarest opportunities engineers get. It's very rare to work on something from scratch. You either are
Right.
deployed to something
Because
that
you
is
have to
already there.
build like literally
Exactly.
the
You
fundamentals. Yeah.
exactly. You usually fall into a project where you have to enhance, maintain, and
Right.
develop further. But it's
Yeah.
very rare that you get an opportunity to work from class one.
Yes.
So that was an opportunity that I was given, and yeah, working on the same project even now, handling a lot of things. So professionally,
Mm-hmm.
I've learned a lot, grown, expanded, and I think I'm breaking the news here. I hadn't shared it with you personally. I
Mm.
think I'm going to be promoted very soon. So,
Oh.
so that's something that I not told you because it's still not official. It's on,
Okay. Okay.
as in it's in the process. I have not gotten it.
Nice. Nice. So, what is
So
the new designation?
it's a P3 as per
Mm.
this company standards. It's called a senior software engineer.
Nice.
It's equivalent to a team lead on an outside.
Okay. Okay.
So it's very close to a team lead. So they
Mm-hmm.
have very less hierarchy levels at OpenText because they normalized
Right.
it. Actually, they hired me for senior software, but
Mm-hmm.
due to two or three acquisitions,
Mm.
they had to normalize things because there were employees on the other side which would put the pressure on the current hierarchy roles. There would be
Mm-hmm.
too many people in one level,
Right.
so they had to normalize that, and they demoted the whole company by one level actually. So
I see.
they put everyone one step.
Yeah. They kind of remove the middle managers and
No,
yeah.
they
Yeah.
not middle managers. They removed one
Yeah.
role and they demoted everyone. So
Right. Right.
so I was put back to software, and now
Mm.
recently the discussions happened. Probably last week only I was offered the role, and my group manager had called, and he had to understand the longevity that I could give. The standard
Right.
protocols of how they assure things that okay, if I'm giving this guy, what am I going to get? Will he quit the company and stuff? Because the market is very futile now and it's very fluctuating
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
people are
There's like the
jumping, right?
mass resignation going on. Yeah.
Exactly. So he wanted to understand, and I told him hands on clear that I shouldn't feel saturated from finance or from the work
Yeah.
perspective. I have to be on toes on both. Once
Yeah.
saturated, it's a time to move on. So he told, no, we'll take care of that. And I told, if that's taken care, I don't mind staying in the company for a while. So
Mm-hmm.
that shouldn't hamper my decisions. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's going smooth. It's still not on the cards. It's a process that even I'm new to. I had to apply to an IGP, something like an internal job posting, and
Yeah.
you put in your needs there, and that will be reviewed by a team. And then I am not sure if I will be interviewed by the reporting manager whom I'm placed under now as a
Mm-hmm.
promotion. But
Right.
that was supposed to happen as per my current manager, but she told again in a 50-50 way that it might happen, might not happen. It might be a technical, it might be a casual. Just be
Right.
ready. Whatever you get a
Right.
call with, just be ready. So it will take a months long process. So yeah, good. Professionally, I've been upping my game. I've always been this lazy guy, to be honest. When from the day
Mm-hmm.
I've started my career, I've taken things very easy, and I mean God's grace that I've aced most of it.
Right.
I'm not boasting myself, but I've aced
Yeah.
most of it, and taking it easy. I've aced it, but I've realized, what if I make it a little better? I think I can do better. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to up my game. I've put hands on multiple things now. So I started off with Java, but now Java is a programming language for the people or the listeners who are not aware of. So just making it a point. So it's a programming language in computer science, and
Right.
today I have embraced or accumulated knowledge towards not just Java. I've put my hands on the UI, that is the user interface framework,
Mm.
the database frameworks, and yes, it's going smooth. So let's see
Right.
how things are and how things will work. Hoping to do the best in the near future, and I
Yeah.
hope that I get the promotion and I do justice to that new role. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, but you're sort of happy, right? Overall, you're happy with where you've gotten so far. I mean,
Yeah,
compared to where you stand, because where you started, because I feel beyond a point, the competition is with yourself. You're only going to be unhappy if you try to look at others and see where they are, and you try to get better each day compared to what you were yesterday. Right? That should be the only parameter.
Exactly. This is something that I learned very early, actually. To have to compete against no one but yourself.
Yeah.
You can't think of someone, and you will definitely find reasons to be restless then.
Right.
You would
Right.
never be satisfied and you would never be happy.
Yeah.
If
Everyone
you,
is unique.
yes, right. So as long as you are better than what you were yesterday, that's what
Yeah.
matters, right? So
Yeah.
I've been, yeah, it's been good that whatever that's going on till now,
Yeah.
it's going smooth, and again, going to a point about not competing, right? It was an argument that I had at home, and dates back to school. So
Mm-hmm.
seventh or something, I was having this transitional period because I had come from state syllabus to ICSE, right? So
Mm.
I think if I take out my marks cards today, I would feel embarrassed myself because
Mm.
I had this period in sixth standard where I think Pamela was our class teacher and she taught some 7, 8 subjects herself.
Yeah.
And I had like
Oh, I remember her. Pretty
red
strict.
marks, probably red marks in all the subjects she taught. And I thought like it's the end game for me here. And yeah, I tried to do my level best to cope up, and I took one of my cousins' help. And yeah, one of my marks came out, and there was like this argument at home that happened with me and my mother back then when I was in seventh. And she happened to tell like, you just see how you're getting, see how your cousins and all got and all. That is when it hit me. Like,
Mm.
I openly cried and I told her, like, then what's the point of me being on the planet? I don't know from
Yeah.
where I got this statement, but I exactly
Mm.
remember that I told this in my mother tongue, obviously.
Mm.
It's not, it will not work like that. We
Yeah.
are two different people and things don't work like that. I don't know
Mm.
from where I got that level of thought or that level
And
of
that's so
maturity.
true. That's so
Yeah,
true,
correct, right?
and yeah.
And
And
that
Indian
was,
parents need to understand that,
yeah,
not to pressurize their kid. All
exactly.
the time they want to be like, look at him, look at him,
Yep,
how he's getting so many marks. But then I may have so many skills that you're absolutely oblivious to. And even I don't know, right? Because I've never explored that.
yep,
God has made us a certain way, and you can't be good at everything, because then you're equal to God,
absolutely,
right? You
absolutely.
got to find what aspects you're good at, and then go towards that, because that's the only task that God has given you, to discover
Absolutely.
yourself,
Absolutely,
right?
and I have to be grateful to my parents. That's the last time I think when they saw me cry. That was the last time they ever compared, and
Mm.
that had an impact on how they saw my younger brother. They never used to compare him to me because he was
Right.
miserable than me when it came to the initial days I'm talking about, when the transition happens, right? You take time to cope up to the higher syllabus, and but yeah, they didn't do it. So there was a clear understanding back then in myself that you don't compete against anyone, right? And you just end up getting restless because you're never satisfied, because this world is filled with a lot of materialistic things, and if you start comparing,
and there's enough negativity out there, you don't need to add additional factors to it.
Exactly. So as long, see, I wouldn't say that there is again the timeline of being content, right? So you can't say that you are content, but you have to be content.
As in set your own standards.
Exactly, right? So that is like, you have to be content, but you don't have to be content also. That you have to work for something big tomorrow, but you have to be at that same levels when you
but appreciate yourself if you attain certain goals. Like, don't disregard that.
Exactly. So if you are in that peace mode, that okay, I'm at a good mode when I'm looking at where I am today, but I have to better myself tomorrow, that's best. You don't have to compare with anyone just because he did something, I have to do something, and that will not give you any sort of peace or any sort of what should I say?
Satisfaction.
Satisfaction. I mean, it just puts you off board. You might never be happy with what you have, and and again, it comes to this this level of thinking when you talk about salaries, right? So it's such a trivial thing, when you have that and that's the reason maybe they say that it's a confidential thing, don't discuss, because people just don't accept. The same teammate might come and say that, how come if I just go and tell that I've got so much, he is all in his rights to go and ask that why have you given him more money?
And that's an issue that can never be resolved.
Exactly, and that's the reason it's kept confidential.
Then how do you grade a person?
Exactly.
If everyone has to be given the same thing, then there is no difference in the value of the efforts, and the manager can never have his discretion as to who has to get what. And you have to just be thankful for what you have. Knowing others' percentages or others' salaries is not going to give you any money.
Totally agree. That's the thing, right? So I rather don't discuss salary, because I know that people don't take it in the right way. I am most welcoming. I have never, probably back from school also, we have seen when they give us our answer scripts, we have seen answers to be very similar, but one student would have got half or 1 mark more, and we would have got less, and we have never complained. There were a few students who went on and questioned, but I found it pointless, because I knew that if I go show, they would reassess the whole paper and they would deduct 1 more mark elsewhere.
Exactly.
Right. So you've got what you deserve. That is what it is at the end of the day, right? So that's the reason I try to keep it trivial. I mean, I don't try to discuss it with, I'm comfortable discussing it with you, because I know that we have the transparency and
we have that trust, and that certain people won't divulge that information.
And you have handled my taxes, so there is transparency.
You indirectly have to tell certain people, but then that is unavoidable.
Correct. No. I mean, I wouldn't mind telling you, because
as in what you mean to say is, don't boast about it.
Exactly, right. When you start, it's like, that guy is already earning so much. Maybe at the same age, I'm earning like little. If you are in that mentality, I would not tell it, because
that's shallow anyway.
Exactly.
Right? Because a job is much more than just the payroll.
Exactly.
It's about the role, it's about the learning, it's about the environment, it's about the manager, it's about the camaraderie that you have, the peace of mind, the flexibility.
A lot
there's
of factors,
multiple, right? There's a plethora of things that you can factor in, and all of that comes into the benefits.
Exactly.
It may not be monetary, but then not having peace of mind and getting paid 40-50 lakhs is much worse than getting paid 5-6 lakhs when you're happy.
When you know that certain people it's not like I know personally, like certain from infidels, right? They've thought in a very uh, negative way, not for me, but for themselves. It's not good, right? They don't accept it. They're like, oh, you got us so much. I got this much. See, that is like, your self
They're
confidence
still comparing
goes.
marks cards.
Yeah,
They've
yeah,
not gone
that's
beyond
what.
that.
That's what, right? See, they're not denying that I shouldn't have got more, but they're questioning why did I get less, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
unnecessary.
yeah.
Boss, you're just trying to hamper your current.
Yeah, and that's also derogatory and insulting to you because you have worked hard to get what you've got.
Yeah, I mean,
Right? You
correct.
want to say that we did exactly the same work, then why did he assess me as higher? Right?
See,
That's something you should ask yourself.
that's what. No, so I refrain from talking these trivial things. These hikes, how much you
Yeah,
earn, and because it's a sensitive topic. It's people don't take it in the right spirit, I
yeah,
feel,
yeah,
and it's unnecessary, right? I
yeah,
know my finance. I know how to handle it, and
yeah.
that's all it needs to be. I don't want you to know or anyone else to know,
Right.
because if it's not taken in the right spirit for him or for me, either
Hmm.
way, it's gonna mess up things in some way.
Yeah,
It might
yeah,
not mess up your relationship, or it might even do that. You never know.
yeah,
You might come to a point of argument where like, oh, you want more, what's your problem? That's just like, you never know, right? In frustration, what you
yeah.
tend to utter and then regret later. So it's better off to keep off certain confidential matters, to
Yeah,
be
I
actually
mean, see, the
confidential.
way I see it is, money is actually more dangerous than a nuclear bomb because I've seen families break because of money. And it's
Yeah,
such a common thing like property disputes, getting your share and then, getting a fake will and then, taking the property, abandoning your parents and all. That
it's
happens in every household.
it's
And
clear.
then when you think about it, you're disowning someone who created you, right?
It's clearly evident, right? It's
Yeah,
clearly evident that money is more valued than humans. It's
yeah,
it
yeah.
is so evident, and it's so clearly, again, emphasized, or uh, uh, what there's more
Proven, reinstated, yeah.
there's more
Yeah.
limelight which was thrown into it during the pandemic also, because people who could show money got the most emergency thing like oxygen and stuff, and people who couldn't afford were not, and there was a bargain system or a money system which
Yeah.
was taken influence,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, the black market for remdesivir, for instance,
Yeah, I
was being
mean,
sold at 50, 60K.
correct, right? So the
Yeah.
influence was clearly money there. It didn't matter what and this thing, and it there were influences even on burial. Come on, see, it didn't end up to your like last breath. It even continued after your last
Yeah.
breath. And they took 30,000, 40,000 for someone to view, because they had COVID
Show
long
it
and
as a
only three people.
non-COVID death.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not just that, you want an external person to come and see the last time.
Mm-hmm.
You're charging 10, 15. See, that's what
Yeah.
it didn't matter. If it is clearly evident that even after your life breath, that is the most important thing that we're going to run this planet.
Right.
Excuse me. So you can't change. I mean, there are other vital resources that needs to be given priority, but I don't think people will learn. Small things can be, done to change. Like, small things. When you buy a milk packet, don't cut off the full thing. You just leave it with the larger part, so
Yeah.
that
So it can be
there's
recycled and
not just
yeah,
recycle. The smaller
the
part.
cows and all that,
Yeah,
they
they
don't
consume them,
give up.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they are living beings with limited knowledge towards all this,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
don't have that level of thinking capacity of what to eat and what not to eat, right? So when
Mm-hmm.
you have that higher precedence of taking care of the planet, you have to be doing better, not mess it up.
Yeah.
And that is what is happening here, right?
I mean
When you
that
know
concern is lacking, in people
exactly,
because Even if you see, you're just driving in a car and people will throw out a wrapper, they'll throw out a cigarette butt. It's like, if you ask them, they'll be like, dude, it's one wrapper. But it's the mindset, it's the ideology.
It's
why everyone does
it's
that.
One rapper said 7 billion people. What's the point?
Yeah. I mean, you're never going to change. Like, take the trouble of keeping the trash with you.
No, I that's what I denied, right? See, it was not education. Okay, I thought, okay, people earlier to us were not educated. I see friends who have come with me, throw cigarette butts, throw wrappers, drop tissues here and there.
Yeah.
I make it a point to keep it in my car and I come throw it back in the bin seat.
Yeah. I mean, but you can't blame them because smoking itself is such a stupid act. You're injecting carbon into your lungs. So that can't be defended, and that's much.
That's a separate thing.
That's a much more
smaller. You have the right. You have the right to mess up your body, but at least be a little sensible in messing up the other's environment. Like you don't know where you're throwing your butt, in front of whose house, which and it's the same people who are so-called educated throwing chips packet, and so it was not actually education that was necessary,
so,
right?
It goes back to how you define education in this country. Like, is education equal to degrees, or is it equal to applying common sense and doing things in a sensible manner and being a good citizen? Like, does that come into the picture?
The definition changes in that way, if you think, but that's what there was this saying, right? You need an uneducated person to clean your garbage.
That
doesn't make sense.
When he has the ability to disrupt the economy.
Yeah.
Right? And
it's a wider thing, right? So if you see from all the topics that we discussed today, it's so vast. I mean, like, it's just two friends who have known each other for a very long time, and we still have such not contradictory, we have such views where it's so diverse. I mean, you can think beyond like points where the conversation can just go on and on and on. It's never ending. I mean, one statement by you raised a concern by me, and one statement by me raised a different concern by you, as in what's happening around us. Right? So that's how demeaning the place is, how messed up the place is, right?
Correct. So, I mean, but it's all an opportunity, it's all there is potential to influence and make things better, but have the mindset to be constructive.
No, that's
with everything that you do, don't try to just troll it, right?
Goes back to our first topic of Rahul Dravid being human. That's all. He's not doing something extraordinary. He's just doing basic things, but that's applauded because that's not common anymore.
At that level.
That level. Leave that level. It's not common at even the base level now. It's the same old people who shared benches with us, throwing paper, throwing plastic, and it's a small contribution that you can do for a better good of tomorrow.
Like, why not set a good example?
People just don't care. People have that attitude, is like, will my contribution really make sense? It does not have to make sense to anyone. It just needs to be self-satisfactory. That's all. Simple.
I mean, it is a drop in the ocean.
Right. You're not proving a point to anyone by doing this or doing that. Are you satisfied? Are you not having that small range of guilt? I mean, I always have it, I keep my chewing gum in my pocket with a paper over it. I don't throw it elsewhere. I come back, I put it in my dustbin, or if I find any dustbin outside, I put it. See, again, you can't think about segregation of waste and all, because that's not the level we are at. Okay, but at least put it in the dustbin. That's the most we can talk about. Right? A lot of things need to change, but I don't think this is. I mean, I don't see that change happening in your future.
I mean, like, it goes back to that pothole event, the other night when we were doing it through the night. Like, people Of course, I got, I got into an ad film end of the day, and that was a good story, right? But then there is a bit of madness involved in doing that, because right? You know that India cannot be pothole free, right? In our lifetimes, at least. I know that for a fact, but still I have a false hope that somewhere, someone's life might be saved because we've made better roads, right? And it is that that desire to influence change, that desire to improve infrastructure and create a long-term impact because of your contribution. That itself is so empowering.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Because
you got to think of it at those levels.
It's a driving factor. I mean, like even if it doesn't influence 100, if it just puts a smile on someone's face, it's kind of a driving factor personally, right?
Yeah.
I would want to do it again tomorrow. I'm not saying if someone followed my footsteps. I'm just saying that if someone smiles, saying that good job, that's so motivating and it's so self-satisfactory, right? You just feel like, oh, I can sleep well today. I've done something good. Right?
Yeah.
So that's what it comes up to. And if every human being on the planet can think in that direction, I mean,
the world would be a better place.
We are not going to talk about global warming and stuff.
Of course,
we would have a lot of butterflies moving around. We would have scenic places right around our houses. Now it's gone to a point where you have to reach to a remote place to experience that kind of a scenario or that kind of a scenic beauty. But if you have that small point that, okay, it's not just us, we are the superior living beings, just in the point that we can think, that's all.
Right.
Not like this or not like that, right? When you can think, you are not putting the thought in the right direction. You're just messing it up. That's the whole problem.
Right? Don't be destructive.
Yeah, simple, right?
Yeah.
It's not like the agenda is to be destructive. It's just that you don't care. What's there, you do it, that's all. You don't think just outside that line, okay. If I throw it,
your mindset is restricted.
Exactly,
you want your house to look good, and outside it, let it fester away and let it rot.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't affect me.
It's just that never-ending saga that I think will go on, because we have had this conversation probably where I can put my point of view of thinking back in time, probably 10-15 years ago, where I just thought about our parents, okay, they didn't have that much education, they're just like, okay. But fast forward, if I take, okay, I've seen my fellow own students who are like so-called educated with me, but still don't have that common sense to do small things. Yeah, come on, small things. It's not like huge contribution that you have to do.
No, it comes down to how much do you apply. I mean, theory and practice is one thing, that is one aspect that can be discussed. And again, theory and application.
Exactly.
Of what you've read, like we had EVS as a subject, we had it till 10th, we had it for our board exams also. And there were such nice things written in that. There was rainwater harvesting, keep your surroundings clean. That's things that's taught in first and second grade. Correct. And how much of that
main subject for us, right? You had to that.
Like how much of that do we implement?
Correct. But hope, that's all. I mean, like I'm seeing the graph going down itself regarding the betterment of environment and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not that one person can change it. I can just contribute from my end.
Yeah.
But I don't think that people will ever change. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem of having an overpopulated nation also, I would say.
Right.
Because this is, convincing so many people, rather than convincing, making people understand is very difficult. Not about, I'm not even looking at your answer, just making you understand, as in like making you sit and listen to the whole thing is difficult.
Yeah. You're basically talking to a wall because the other person has already made up his mind.
So he's not going to budge. Whatever you say,
either
it's the same response.
Correct. He's constrained to one thing, one thought, or he's least bothered. And there's a small set of people who are like really concerned and they have this patient hearing and they have their own point of view, which I really appreciate. But that's just a very small drop in the ocean. I don't think that drop can, I mean, they have to do their bit because they're doing it. Just because it's not gonna make an impact in the future. That small drop also shouldn't say that anyway 95% is not doing.
I mean, you're still igniting a fire, right?
Correct, yeah.
So if even that dies out, then how much of a fire would you have? You're never going to. It's never going to spread.
So you can't say that 95%.
So you want to have a light at the end of the tunnel. However long it is.
Nothing. You just have to do so that you don't feel guilty. That's the small contribution you can do. And if you can live up to that, probably to whatever day you're here, I think there won't be any regret.
Correct. So to end on a high note, this was a question I just sort of framed as you were talking about the Infi experience. We've got to acknowledge this company that was built in the 80s, right? Like 1981 or whenever it was founded, from their wife's savings. Sudha Murthy and then Rohini Nilkani and all these people, they contributed, I believe, 20K of their life savings. And Narayan Murthy, that visionary, he took that money and then invested it in the right cause. And it was called, I believe, Patni Computers back then. And from there, he scaled it. And now look where Infi is. We are one of the main sponsors in Wimbledon and Australian Open. And, they're responsible for you talk about India, IT in India, the software boom. Number one is Infi, Infi, Wipro, TCS, those are the names that come up.
Pops up.
So I mean, what are your views on the founders of Infi and these guys, like these legends?
That's what whatever the trend we are seeing now is something that they envisioned back in time with limited resources.
Right.
It was pure heart and pure vision that is what has led to what we are today. Because I think today you're talking about a large set of startups and stuff happening, but that has a small what should I say, contribution from the society.
Yeah, those are the pioneers.
Yeah. The current drive force has some contribution from the society because you are somewhere fed that you have to be an entrepreneur. You take up someone like the founders of Infosys as an example. They said that
right, the role models.
You have that force now, but to think of something and to drive in that force back in 80s where
they were trailblazers because even computers were like just because the Genesis and Bill Gates and Steve Jobs were still building those big giants back then.
It was just ones and zeros back then, and to think like that and to go in that motive, we are just building it, and to what they have achieved today is just phenomenal. That you just put a global stamp mark on what India can do, because Infosys is a renowned MNC today, and it's definitely a competitor across the globe, right?
Right. I mean, just the brand holds so much value. When I mention Infi in my interviews, when you say you've audited Infi, the weightage goes a step higher.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
It means so much because it means that your firm had good business and you were doing good work, right? So it all reflects, it's just that brand that we leverage, and it's all from these middle class values on which it's been based.
Correct. And that's what it might not I mean it has that benchmark, right? It has that benchmark, but somewhere it goes offload because it hires a lot of people, and you actually think of it not like a product based and a service based industry, and I'm talking in terms of an IT professional,
right?
I'm not talking in terms of a business professional on the revenue they generate. Just talking in an IT professional way, it can still make things better because certain projects that they support or I worked on still are very old, and they can pick up with the level of support and the level of the foundation that they have that they've created for the last 20-30 years. I don't think it will take a long time or too much of an effort for them to transition into the current working environment. They have to move.
You mean the pace of change is a bit
exactly
slow?
Yeah, but see, again, that comes from the clients. Okay, the people who are owning the product with Infosys, they'll have to be convinced, and they'll have to set in so much money because nothing goes in free, right? If they pay, Infosys does it. But you have to have that strong core, and you have to make sure that the business is moving forward, and that is when you can generate more jobs.
Right.
So yeah, that is one thing that they have to do. And apart from that, I think see, again, it's debatable whatever I say now, but I think the salary standards can be improved. But again, as I told, it's debatable because they're having a huge employee base. I think they have 3 or 4 lakh people, and you can't think about giving standard hikes to all the 3 or 4 lakh. The company would
exactly
go bankrupt in 10 years. So you can't do that. You can't normalize like how product-based company do. But definitely you'll have to find ways because the inflation factor and the standard at which Infi is paying is not going hand in hand. That's the problem. Because it's the same package that was offered back then, and it's the same package that is offered even now. So back then it might look big, but milk packet also was costing only 3 or 4 rupees. But this payment will look small because the milk packet is costing $20. $20, right? So that needs to be corrected. They'll have to remap few things at the top level on how they handle situations. Because one factor is recession and at least giving a job at a low salary grade. But when you have to value engineers, I don't think that starting package, I don't know what's offered now, but we were offered 3.2, and that's been the same package that's been offered for ages, I guess now. That needs to change. That needs to be revamped because you can't do much with, I mean, back then you can tell that, okay, people used to run families with 20,000-25,000 monthly.
That's not possible today in bigger cities.
It's a faster paced life.
Right.
Your needs are costlier, and things are moving so fast that you have to up that. That bandwidth needs to match. The inflation and the package. Needs to match so that people and employees are satisfied.
Right.
I don't know.
That's true.
High levels on how they think and how they maintain that graph about how many people they need to hire every year and how much of, because it's a cycle, right?
I think there's a huge disparity in Infi. Like the executives are paid absurd amounts, whereas at entry levels they're paid peanuts.
It's not just Infi. That's how every industry works. Because even if we set up a company tomorrow, we would think in that level only. We would think as stakeholders, and we would think in that prospect and take huge draws of money because we have stuck to this company for 20-25 years, and we deserve what we're getting. Is the ideology they think.
Right.
So that's again debatable, right? It's there in every industry. It's not just here. They're across all industries, not just software, any domain.
True.
So I don't see that being corrected. But as long as employees are valued and get what they deserve, That's a good thing. A lot of factors will involve in that because it depends on the team you're in and the partiality that happens within the team, whom you're under, right? So you can't control at that level. The micromanagement at that level cannot be controlled. It's everyone's fate and everyone's destiny is what we can control. That's all.
Yeah.
But the base package can be changed. That can be probably pushed to 4.5, maybe. In my way of thinking, 4.5 is decent. 3.2 is way too less. I mean, like that's just like if people living in the same city and have a home, I think that would be fine. But most of these IT people are relocated.
Yeah.
They live in a rented space. So with that amount of salary, you are paying rent, you are eating outside. What living can you make?
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, they try to extract the employees rather than compensate or reward them for their services. So they're not really bothered about their standard of life.
Yeah. That's what it's a huge debate. We can't really.
Yeah.
But that's a thing that I would like to see.
Right.
Yeah. Just to change that base package of the initial entries, college entries.
Yeah.
It's good if it's around 4.5. I'm not saying big also. I'm not saying like, bump it from 3 to 4.
Yeah, it should be a decent level to start at. Yeah.
Correct. So 3.2 now back then, and if it's 4.5 would be decent. I'm not saying 6 and all, but 4.5.
Right.
Because they're mass recruiting agents, right? So companies which give jobs for 2-3 people, they would have given for 20. So that's the ratio they work at.
True.
So I can't, keep that away from my thought and say that you start your salaries at 6 and 7.
Yeah.
So that's one thing.
Yeah. So, just to finish off, bro, this one question that I think is the right way to end this. So, till date, obviously, you have a long way to go, right? You've got a good 20-30 years in your career, and you might, start a business down the line or get out of employment or depending on how it goes, right? Yeah, but till now, till, whatever 28 years you've spent, if you had to pick one or maybe a couple of things, what has been the proudest moment for you so far that really strikes you, that you really remember fondly?
My proudest moment.
Yeah.
I would keep it materialistic, but I felt really elated and really proud when I got my first 4-wheeler for my home. Because it's not just mine, it's entire generations that I could think of. My father and my grandfather.
Right.
No one had a 4-wheeler at my place. I mean, talking about immediate families.
Yeah.
That was something that,
because they brought you up to this stage, you've started from scratch and you've got to a position where you can, bring some comfort to the family and really improve the standard of living and the comfort level.
That I think stands out in terms of materialistic. I think in terms of values, I think it's everyday. You have to be proud every day. In terms of you just have to make sure that you've not hurt anyone. You have not caused some pain to someone. If you just keep that, I think you would rather tap your back and just sleep well.
Yeah. You have to be proud of being an Indian, first of all, where you're from,
your roots.
Your roots, you know where you come from, because that's how you stay grounded. And if you lose sight of that, then that's when the negative influences come in, and then things don't add up for you, and then you can go off track.
Exactly. So a lot of factors actually pitch in to what you become and what you are today, right? There can be contributions from n number of sources, right? So that's what you have to be. You have to feel blessed to what we are today, and that's how it is now. And long way to go is what we think. I don't. I mean, this is one more thing that I probably made it more strong point. It was there, always there in me. It's become more evident and more engraved in me that you don't have to look too ahead in time because you're not
certain. Take each day as it comes.
You're not certain about that is more evident because of COVID, right? So I just try to keep things simple. I just try to keep one day at a time. Like you get up, it's a blessing that you're awake
in good health.
Yep. So you're awake another day, do what needs to be done, and it'll flow. It'll flow. What needs to happen will flow.
Will happen. Correct. Just leave it to God.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you just can't sit idle. Your contribution will be there, but the results or whatever you want to call it will happen on its own.
Yeah.
That's the proud thing. That's all.
True.
Can't think of anything else, bro. That's the nearest thing I can think of, because rest all I can, if I tell, it'll be like boasting and stuff, but I don't want to really do that.
Yeah.
But this I really felt proud, so that's like on the top now.
Right.
Of the recent achievements,
Yeah. I'll take that question just to finish it. So for me, obviously it would be getting the award for Best Employee of the Quarter in Q4 of 17. In McAfee, when there was significant efforts, that we had to put in through the year end, right? We literally sat in office through the night and then walk past US's closing hours as well, like past 4:30 in the morning sometimes with the stakeholders. And then there was, a massive challenge that had to be done because it was the first year the independent company was set up, when they spun off from Intel. There were no processes in place, and basically the whole year's payroll, accounting and all that had to be set right for, within a week. And it wasn't expected that it will be cracked, but then, we somehow, again, that Josephite mentality, right? Of I have to get it done, right?
Pull through,
come what may. So I took on a lead role, even though I was being assisted by the CA guy. That guy, he had given up.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about this guy.
This guy Vikram. So he was kind of lazy by nature as well. So I was like, you forget it. I'll work with them on my own. Just got into it full-fledged, like, full obsessed mode, and got it done. And then I had to secure that award. I mean, that was the main reason, because this is also a thing that in corporates especially, you're lucky to get certain projects. They might be challenging, but then not everyone gets that chance to prove themselves.
Exactly.
People, maybe they can put those same amount of efforts, but then they're not in your place. And if you don't take advantage of that and, elevate your position, then you've missed a chance.
It's an opportunity that you've missed.
Then you've lost. You really got to make it count when those projects come along the way, and you either take it in the right spirit, you either crack it, or you succumb to the pressure and do an average job and don't really get recognized. So that would be one. And then secondly, obviously, this year has been especially extremely eventful for me with clearing my examinations and qualifying and all that. Correct. So it took a whole 10 years for that to happen. Like, I didn't envision it would take a decade, but then to get the degree, it took a whole 10 years for me to finally pass. And I was overjoyed, and obviously everyone at home was relieved, right, that it's finally done, and they were really happy about it. But those two things, they're well and good. But then the other day when I published that poem on Facebook, right, the one on Afghanistan, the poem called RIP, right?
my mom, I mean, both of us were actually traveling because we had to attend. I took a bus the same evening after that performance because we had to attend like an event, a wedding the following day.
Mhm.
And that was really hectic. But then I told my mom, watch that video and see if you like it and all that. So she somehow watched it, and then she said, she commented proud of you, with a couple of hearts.
Yeah, that's satisfaction,
Yeah.
right?
She said proud of you, and then she's never said that to my face. Your
Mhm.
parents, when they say something like that, in a public forum,
Correct.
that means so much, and that it just makes everything worthwhile, right? All the efforts that you put in,
Effort.
everything you've done up to that stage, when someone acknowledges, that you've done
Not
something
someone,
great,
right?
and yeah, when
Yeah.
someone that important, and they acknowledge
Yeah.
those kind of efforts, and that is something I do as a passion. It's
Mhm.
not part of my profession or anything like that. It's something I've taken up, on my own, and I've
Right.
realized that there is a scope in that.
Correct.
And when people really acknowledge that, and when they appreciate those performances and those things, then you see that there's a whole different side of you which can really be leveraged, and it gives you such a massive boost. So that comment, bro, that was like that's
Everything.
been special. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
been special. Yeah.
Good, good. Yeah.
But
So, yeah, just like one more thing that I felt, yeah, I think I missed it because immediately, like, I just had to recollect when you suddenly, because this is completely impromptu, right?
mm,
I have not had any chance to know what you're going to come up with or
yeah,
what you're
yeah,
going to ask.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
when
agreed.
you got proud, maybe I just went in a materialistic way, but
Mm,
there's something much more bigger to that, which is more valuable. So I would say the way I left Infosys.
mm,
I mean, like, I had no clue that so many people felt bad
yeah.
because I was leaving.
Right.
So
That's when
that's
your true value is
exactly right.
is
So
recognized.
I just like thought that okay, my presence here was felt all these days or years
Right.
because they're not gonna see it from tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I literally was like awestruck because
Mm.
I am not sure if anyone would have received a farewell like that.
Yeah. I
Maybe
mean, there were hundreds of
because
people. I remember seeing those
like
videos and photos. Yeah.
yeah, I mean like I was like, do I what have I done to deserve this first? My
Yeah.
first thing that came into my mind was this, like, do I
Right.
really deserve it or what have I done to deserve it? Okay.
Mm.
It all started, obviously I I didn't sleep that night, knowing that it's your last day tomorrow and you're gonna leave this city and you're gonna go back home. So it's a lot of emotions that is running, and I didn't break because you have that notice period of 3 months, which helps you digest the fact that you're gonna quit.
Yeah.
So that 90 days started to, subside in me the thought of being emotional and stuff. And,
Mm.
I didn't sleep that night and I go to office and yeah, it's like, okay, I mean, my work was all done and I had to do this few sign-offs, right? Like I had to
Yeah.
hand over my ID card and like few things, final
Mm-hmm.
process oriented.
Yeah.
So yeah, one round of things were like sorted like at afternoon or something. Then I come back. As soon as
Mm.
I come back, I see the whole team had taken the effort to learn dance the previous day and prepare flash mob.
That's so sweet.
Dude, how special can it get? Dude, you do
Yeah.
flash mobs to events at institution level.
Right.
You don't do it to someone who's leaving.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and I was
That's
like,
the importance
yeah,
that they're
I mean,
giving you.
like,
Yeah.
my God, dude, this is like, I I don't know, like, no words. Then I just stood there, like, just watching them, and then they bought me a white shirt, and they all wrote what I still have that shirt, and it's a very special shirt. So they have all signed and they've written what they feel about me or what. And it's so good, when you get to know that, the entire floor.
Yeah, you have the respect of your
like the entire floor, okay. See, it's like not just my team. I just work with a team of like 10 people, okay. But the floor comprises of like 70 or 80 people, I think, or maybe even more. But when things were happening that I'm going to leave, the entire floor had stopped their work and they were like coming and seeing the dance. They're all like clapping for me, and there was one girl who sang this Rajakumara song. Dedicated,
that's where it connects.
Dedicated that song to me, and like, I almost like felt very bad, like because it was a question mark for me. I didn't like. Dude, this is like almost getting me
tears of joy.
But I stopped because I knew that if I burst out, there are a lot of other people who would, follow that trait. Okay, so I didn't really want to do it. And then the impact really came is we left there and we went to the cafeteria, the food court, and that is where like we planned to have the cake cut and stuff. So everyone had to speak. Like
that part is really emotional, bro.
Yeah, that was I mean, like I expected, but I didn't really expect it from my lead. Okay, she's a mother of two, and like I have had like the most minimal conversations with her. Casual, yes, I used to. I mean, be cheeky around her. That is how I am. I mean, like I pull, I make fun and stuff around. And she started to tell like things like you just don't change who you are. Like you do whatever the position you go, just don't change to who you are. And she just like started to almost cry. Like we'll definitely miss your presence from tomorrow. And I was like, at this level, you can't think at that level did I have an impact, or like the mother
when your superiors say it.
No, see, if your friends say it, I understand. Okay, if your lunch mates say it, I understand because I've spent a lot of time with them. Right? But she is someone who's like a homemaker, come worker, and I've just had minimal conversations with her. But she knew that okay, I had that vibe around the office. She literally told who's gonna come and greet us every day. Gonna make that sound around in the office.
And there's that energy within the team.
It's that contagious thing that she told, like, we're gonna miss. And then she just walked up towards me to just, hug and leave. So she was almost feeling a little embarrassed because she's gonna cry. And that moment, my ID card and her ID card got clean. Like it was this Bollywood movement, okay? And we had a laugh. So that's like probably
memorable episode,
even a prouder moment, because this is materialistic and this is what I did for my family. But
I mean, your farewell is kind of like your funeral, in the company.
Correct.
So you really know, like people who show up there and who say something, what they thought about it.
Yes.
It's relevant, whatever happened in the past 4 or 5 years, whatever work happened, whatever bad blood you shared, or whatever was exchanged. It all comes down to that day. What is the opinion they have on that very moment, because it's all a culmination of events.
The number of people that had gathered and the number of events that they did, that was like, I think like, first of all, like, I felt I didn't do anything extraordinary to deserve all this. Okay, like I've not done anything. In fact, I've just been me. And to have that like factor of me being myself, I somewhere felt very proud of me. That okay, there's so many people who actually like who I am, and that's all it requires, right?
And there's a few characters that create the vibe.
within the team.
This is like more valuable to whatever you can earn or whatever you can make off.
Of course.
Even to date, if I say that I'm coming to Mysore, there'll be people who going to reach out to me and like come meet us. So if you have got that
regard for you.
So that was one thing. Okay. And next day was the day I was still in Mysore, but it was a working day. But it was not my office day because my previous day was my last day.
Your last working day was done.
I didn't leave from Mysore, but I was still there. Okay, so I you know Sanam, right? So she joined the office like in 2019. Okay, like not 2018. So even she was not like there from the beginning. The others and all, they were there from the beginning of the journey since 2016. She was there, and I was just happening to like just talk to her. She just gave me this message, and I just felt even more sad though next day. Like, I'm not there in office, okay? She just think that you seriously have impacted people here. I literally see no one's even turning towards your cubicle.
Wow.
Because if they look at that, they know that you're not there. They're not even entering your cubicle. That's what she sent me. And I was like,
profound impact.
Like shit, dude. This is like, I mean, it was in a pure.
And she was new. She didn't know why it's happening.
Yeah, pure-hearted sense. She told it in that way because she didn't know that my long-lasting connection with the others, right?
Yeah.
And now she's a very close friend of mine.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm telling about the previous thing that she had to understand to tell that. Just told like people really do miss you here. They're not even entering your cubicle. Like, oh, God, shit. Like, that was like another impact. And then, they gifted me a photo frame and that collaged a few photos of this. I don't know if I've shared that with you.
You might have, yeah.
Yeah. So that was probably the proudest moment. I mean, like you go back, you can pick up other things about you, graduating and stuff and all, but it happens to everyone, I think.
Yeah. I mean, whatever stands out, like for me, like I said, it was that one comment, right? that means so much. So it's what you value more. It doesn't have to be in tangible form. It doesn't have to be a big achievement from others' perspective. It is what counts for you.
Correct.
So that was the angle that I was driving.
So that was the thing for me. So those two things, and other things and all will happen in everyone's family and stuff. But in a materialistic way, that and more prouder moment is to earn people. So that was like I don't see, even now you can feel like if I talk about it, my voice sinks in and I speak.
Yeah. I mean, even if you ask me, like you saw my recordings, right? For me, it was virtual, so face to face obviously is a lot different. But then I cried on both those calls, bro.
Correct.
Like, you saw that, yeah.
This was a virtual exit, so
I mean, it's just because you get a whole flashback.
I could relate to a lot of similarities between me and you because I
think we left on similar terms.
Yeah, I could replay my farewell when I was seeing the videos that you shared, right? Because everyone there also were like, we'll miss your presence, we'll miss your energy. We think of you like one this small silent guy, but outside you're a different person. You have that vibe and the way you speak to everyone. So these characters even I share. Maybe we all like, because of benchmates, we probably have that same trait.
I mean, it goes back to what Sanam said, right? That we sound so similar.
Correct, exactly. I'm about to get that
talk
point
and all that. And I mean, that made a lot of sense when I heard that from you.
Yeah, that's what. Like I told. I mean, yeah,
because subconsciously somewhere it's ingrained. Somewhere we have the similar. The pedigree
we have
that
matured together, right?
we brought up with.
Like we are matured together. Like so.
Yeah.
It's back in time when we were like just kids, and to now. So definitely we would have exchanged something.
Yeah.
Unknowingly.
Because we look at our teachers, we look at our seniors, and then that's what we imbibe, and then that becomes the style.
Exactly.
So, over time. Yeah.
That's the thing. And yeah, it's been good till now, and hopefully it just gets better. That's all. Yeah.
For sure. I mean, both of us, have a long way to go. And if you think about us, sitting in class, we would have never thought, that we'll still be so tight, even
Correct.
now.
Few things happen in a way, but that's what. No, like I like to bring out that one more point. Like when you put that post for my birthday, I mean, I was moved. And like again, it goes back to a point. Like, dude, I didn't do anything special. I was just a friend who agreed to meet, but only on the receiving end you had that impact.
In my view, it was
correct. Yeah. No, so I mean, like that's what, like there or here.
Yeah,
I just
feel like you basically helped a person get out of depression, without knowing it. And
maybe that's what. No, I put it then and put it now. I don't know if I deserve that level of pinpointing and stuff, because I don't think I've done anything extraordinary. If I've done something, okay, I can feel like okay, fine. But it's
no, but then the value of a friend is underrated, bro.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I mean? And the definition of a friend changes every moment. And now you've got to be very cautious with whom you're calling a friend, because everyone wants a return. Everyone wants
I remember this
something.
This told by Naga, Nagaraja, computer teacher.
The computer teacher, yeah.
Yeah. So he had told the people whom you make at school as friends, one or two would be the strongest, because people who you gather later might get close, but
it's not the same.
Point. This is the point where there's a lot of transparency and
there's that purity.
Because you don't see things and you become friends at that point.
You
just connect, and it just goes. Okay. But maybe even now, I don't think you or me see other aspects. If you know that person is the right person to vibe, you cling along. But not all of the people are like that, right?
Correct.
Other people see a lot of other factors, like
because with longevity, a lot of things are verified.
Exactly.
Because even now, if someone's like overly nice to me, if they're calling me or texting me, very politely and all that, then I know for sure there's something shady going on. This guy wants some work to be done. That's the reason. That's the reason he's reaching out. So that's the question I'm kind of expecting. But then it's unrequited, with school friends and with people from childhood that you've been with.
With you, I can even if I've not spoken to you for 2-3 weeks or something, I can immediately call and say directly for the purpose that I've called you.
You can share deeper secrets.
Correct. I can. No, even that is one thing. Secrets is one thing. And even the purpose, like if there is something that I want to get things done from you, I don't have to think twice. Even if I've not spoken to you for a very long time. Okay? Because we know that we have grown to a space where you don't have to talk every day,
and you have a special place for these kind of people.
Correct.
Where you place it on priority.
You don't have to think like, okay, I have to speak to him every day. I'll have to think twice to ask him a favor. No, I would just ring you up.
Structure a speech in your head before calling.
No, nothing of such sort. So my basic thing would be like, if I call you after a while, would just obviously ask you how you are, right? That's the basic thing, like what's up and like what's happening. And then I would straight get into the point. Like recently, I remember like one of my office person like wanted to look for some IT thing. Called you up. I think I'd not spoken to you for a while before that.
Yeah.
So I just called you up and like, what's up, bro? How is it? And I came like, yeah, this is the thing. What's the scene and stuff. So I don't have to think twice, like what you will think, because it's grown beyond that.
Yeah.
I would like to put it that way. Like I don't have to think.
There's a brotherhood, right?
Yeah, I don't have to think like what you'll think. Stuff. Because I know for a fact that if it's not going to happen or not going to work out with you, you will be,
frank about
honest.
it.
Yeah, honest about it. Like, yeah, bro, I'm stuck with like work.
Yeah.
I take it up later, and that's how it is, right? So that's the best part.
And you'll obviously do your best to accommodate, because it's coming from someone important.
Correct. No, that and have that level of transparency, bro. It's clean. There's nothing that can destroy you.
Yeah.
I'm saying that moment. If it's only driven with the source of benefit and stuff, that is where it gets shady and it gets ugly.
Then there's a bit of skepticism,
Correct. Yeah.
You got to be a bit cautious and diplomatic in the way you handle it.
If both the parties have that conclusive thing that okay, this is what it is, this is what it is, it's done. Like there's nothing that can disturb that. You should make grounds. This is how this person is. This is how that person is.
Correct.
If you can make those grounds, you're well and good. Because things change only when you expect too much beyond that ground of a person, right?
Yeah.
That is when
it's not reasonable. When someone's asking for a genuine favor, then you have to oblige.
Correct, exactly.
But then and there's also a trust. Like you know for a fact that they're not misusing you. You're not going to send me all your friends for consultancy because you know that I'm not charging and all that.
Yeah.
So then it would become a problem, right? Beyond a point. But then you exercise that discretion, right?
Exactly.
You do it only for your closest friends, and I know that.
Yeah.
When you reach out. So
someone
I do
reaches
my
out, I
best
know.
to accommodate. Yeah.
That's what knows. I don't ask for everyone. I just ask it for my inner circle. That's also that's the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what long way to go. This is one of the things that we have discussed that we wanted to do, and you've started it off. And there are other things that we have thought of, and it needs to go on ground. Hoping that it also takes shape one day.
Yeah. But the thing is, there's never a right time, Actually, my plans were to go to Dubai for the expo, in the month of Jan.
Okay.
I had to go there for a week and everything was sorted. Like my friend there, he had passes and he has like a house. He's settled with his wife and all that. And I basically had to just incur the travel cost and then, maybe whatever transportation there. Correct. So everything was set up. And then, now because of Omicron and all that, it's a huge risk, to go there and then get quarantined. And there's a lot of ambiguity. So, I had to drop that. And then like, what else do I do in the meanwhile? So I was like, let's get started.
Yeah.
So, and
you told me no right time.
Yeah.
You just have to make time.
Yeah, you just have to go for it. And I think so far, people are liking it as well. Like the guests that I've called on, they've enjoyed it because invariably it's the first time that they are doing it. And once they get started, they realize that it's just a normal chat. Yeah, exactly. It's not something that you have to prepare for and be too worked up about. Yeah.
It's more like a phone call, but it's driven by a topic or whatever. It's just that it's on recording now. That's all.
Right.
So you just try to keep it a little naive and a little clean because you know that you have audience.
Yeah.
You try to keep a little fine buttered. Speaking. That's all. But apart from
bit of sugar coating.
Yeah.
But just in case it's set to explicit on anchor.fm. So in case, it gets triggered for demonetization or gets banned for copyright or whatever. But yeah, I I don't think we need to go that side too much, but a few words here and there, that's common, that's needed for emphasis.
That's the slip of the tongue. It's part of the dictionary.
Yeah.
It's
Coming from Joseph's.
Correct, involuntary. I'm just scared of that also, actually. If I have to give a speech elsewhere in a public forum, and it just slips out if I like not prepared and I just slip it out. It'll be very embarrassing.
Yeah. Those things, that's why you got to know, what you're saying, and you got to be careful before you say it, because those are the things that people latch on to. And
you just have to be 2 phrases ahead in your head.
Yeah. That's why they say think before you talk.
Correct. Just 2 phrases. Don't keep it too ahead also. That will become then it's a prepared speech. So you just have to keep 2 phrases ahead so that you just don't go off track.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's it in terms of the agenda, bro. So if you have any closing comments.
So as I told, it's something I don't have to be formal about, because this is something that you had a long-term checklist that you had to start off, and I'm like honored that I'm the 4th guest. So you've been busy with a lot of other things, and it's just sometimes a motivation to me, because I sometimes laze around in the house feeling restless of not doing anything. But when I look up to you, you're involved in so many things, you've driven in so many things that you like, and that keeps me on my toes, and like I try to find ways, things I like. So in one way, you're a motivating factor. So
thanks, bro. Thanks so much.
The way you find time to get things done, which is there in your head, and to put it out, it really takes a lot of effort. I know I'm saying it because we know our sedentary work life, and to have screen time after working with the screen time is not easy. You just need to give that a little bit of rest, but despite that, you keep hustling, you keep traveling, you keep doing your bit to the society, and that's commendable to another level. So it's good, bro, like that. I don't want to thank you formally, but I would want to put a word to the listeners that keep subscribe to this place or to Spotify.
It's as real as it gets.
Correct. So I'm sure that my friends here would come up with interesting topics that you would want to think of and you would want to debate upon. And so to all the audience, whoever listened to it, thank you for your patience of 2 brats who just blabbed around for the last 2-3 hours. So I'm not sure how much would be published or how much would be edited out, but thank you for your patience and patient sharing. So hope to do this again very soon. Thanks, guys, and thanks, Mata, for this. And we'll catch up soon.
Yeah. So on that note, we end this episode. It is currently 2:50 a.m. India time, and it's a Sunday night, so both of us have to get back to work. Luckily, my mid-month is starting from tomorrow. I just have one call with US day after night. So tomorrow is kind of relaxed, and that's the reason I blocked Dhanush at this time, strategically planning it because I have a lean week coming up. I hope he's similarly placed as well. I hope it's not too hectic for him.
I'm on the opposite side. I have jam-packed work.
Sorry about that. You can get up a bit late, maybe.
I usually join in for my meeting at 10:30, so that should do.
Yeah. That's about it today, guys. I hope you all enjoyed listening to this conversation, and it was really like a time machine for me, going back right to class 5
all the way to the present day, because Dhanush has been a constant in my life, and he's been, you know, that one factor that has, you know, been there throughout, right, from class 5 to class 10, and then immediately, you know, not in 11 and 12, but then post that again he got back in touch, and he's been like that one important friend to me, to someone who's kind of introverted. So I've really looked up to him and been thankful to him, you know, for his presence in my life, and he's aware of that, you know, he acknowledges that, and we sort of reciprocate to each other. So we hope to continue being on similar terms, and you know, just being there for each other, you know, whenever it's needed. He's always supportive of whatever initiatives I have, and I always get his opinion on things whenever it's needed. And he always reaches out, you know, similarly, and we hope to share a similar bond, bro. And on that note, it's yeah, it's good night for now, before good morning. You know, the sun is going to rise in a couple of hours. I made up my mind to wake up at 6 in the morning, but it's almost 3 in the night. So by the time this gets converted and exported, it will be about 4:30, I think. So let's see how it goes.
Cheers, guys. Cheers. And thanks, bro. We'll catch up soon.
Yeah, that's it. Goodbye and good night.